Jianyu was in poor health, and the doctor said he might not live past 40. To take care of him, I quit my job and became a homemaker for the rest of my life. His career soared, and he became a renowned writer, celebrated in the literary world, with students everywhere. He only passed away at the age of 60. I wrested 20 more years of life from the king of hell for him. On his deathbed, he held my hand and said, "If there's a next life, could you please grant me and Gunyan together?" Gunyan, his first love, his white moonlight. I looked down at my wrinkled, cracked hands and smiled sadly. "Accommodate you? What about the wasted life I've lived? Even if heaven grants your wish, I will not accommodate you." 1. In the intensive care unit, Jianyu wears an oxygen mask, and the surrounding medical equipment beeps incessantly. Wave after wave of people came to visit him in the ward. There were social elites, high-ranking officials, his students, and many readers and fans. The ward was filled to the brim with flowers and fruits. Even the passageway outside was occupied. Anyone with eyes could tell that a big shot was staying here. Media reporters were waiting outside the ward, as everyone knew Jianyu's time was near, because doctors had long said his heart was weak, his health poor, and he might not live past 40. Now, at 60, he had outlived his expected lifespan by 20 years. People came and went, all saying he was protected by the star of literature. "No one cares about me," his wife, sitting in the corner of the hospital room. "It was my decades-long meticulous care that earned him an extra 20 years from the grasp of the Grim Reaper. His heart is weak, he can't handle stress, extreme emotions, or cold winds. I took care of him personally, balancing meat and vegetables for every meal, adding clothes and hats in the cold, and wiping sweat and fanning him in the heat, never slacking for a single day. He lived like an ethereal being, solely responsible for his brilliance. As for me, I was just an old hag, like his nanny." It wasn't until Jianyu was breathing his last, summoning me to deliver his final words, only then did everyone remember that the writer Jiang had a wife. My ordinariness also pricked their eyes, their gazes telling me, I am not worthy of Jianyu. He is so famous, and I am so ordinary. Pushing through the crowd, I reached Jianyu. He struggled to remove the oxygen mask, his eyes clouded as he looked at me. "Xiaoshu, I have never asked you for anything in my life. Could you promise me one thing?" I perked up, nodding to signal him to continue. "If there's a next life, could you make it possible for me and Gunyan to be together?" Gunyan, his first love, the white moonlight. My mind was struck like a thunderbolt, unable to believe it. No wonder everyone always said that despite Jianyu's happy family and successful career, there was always a subtle sadness in his works, a sense of longing and regret. It turned out he had been thinking about his first love all his life, the first love who left the country and never returned after learning he was going to marry me. I thought he had forgotten her long ago, but I didn't realize he had been thinking about her for decades. I was in a daze and didn't respond, mumbling to myself, "Fulfill your wish, who will fulfill mine?" Jianyu looked at me weakly, and the alarms on his equipment began beeping. A group of doctors rushed in. Resuscitation, repeated resuscitation, and failure. Jianyu has passed away. 2. Jianyu's posthumous affairs are to be handled entirely by his students. I felt like a puppet on strings, signing, and signing again as a family member. At the memorial service, everyone was whispering, discussing Jianyu's life and his final words before his death. The crowd stirred slightly when Gunyan appeared. "Isn't that Jiang's first love?" It is said that Jiang, the writer, was most concerned about her before his passing. Scholars are often sentimental, and Mr. Jiang truly was a man of deep affection. I hear this person is also a renowned scholar abroad, and they were a perfect match for Mr. Jiang. What a pity, what a pity. Jianyu's students surrounded her and led her to the front, as if Gunyan were Jianyu's rightful wife. The silent me stepped forward and stood in front of Gunyan. "The family speech should be mine." Jianyu's student stepped forward. "But madam, the teacher always cared about Ms. Gu when he was alive. I'm sure he would be willing for Ms. Gu to speak on behalf of the family." Someone muttered softly. Ms. Gu would look more dignified. Gunyan, impeccably dressed and made up, indeed looked more presentable than this haggard housewife in her plain cotton coat. "But why should that be?" I scoffed, no longer willing to endure. "Jianyu and I are legally married. In the eyes of the law, I am his only wife. If you want to cling to feudal remnants, that's your business." Gunyan stepped forward, wiping away tears. "Xiaoshu, I know you're upset, but today is Jianyu's funeral. Can we let him pass peacefully?" "Sure, you can just leave." "If it weren't for my care, Jianyu would have died 20 years ago. He never considered my feelings before he died, so why should I care about him now, even if I cause a scene at the funeral? What difference would it make? His restless afterlife is entirely his own doing. I won't budge an inch. I absolutely refuse to let Gunyan speak as a family member. No one can persuade me otherwise. In the midst of the argument, someone pushed me. My head slammed hard against Jianyu's coffin, and my consciousness immediately blurred. Past lives flashed before my eyes like a revolving lantern. Before I met Jianyu, my life was also so dazzling. With my own job and friends, how come after getting married? All that's left is washing, cooking, and cleaning, day after day, week after week. It repeats endlessly. 3. When I woke up again, there was a resignation letter in front of me. Due to family reasons, I need to resign from my job. I hope the unit can approve. The signature reads, Shinchioshu, month X, 19XX. I was back in the past. I suddenly sat up and looked around. There were still many red, double happiness, characters not torn off, and the bed sheets and sofa cushions were all bright red. Was this the time shortly after Jianyu and I got married? Back when we got married, his new book had just been published and was selling extremely well. He fainted from overexcitement, which revealed his poor heart condition and likely shortened life expectancy, but the doctor said, with careful care and avoiding heart stimulation, he might live a few more years. He was a promising new writer, and everyone advised me to quit my job to take care of him at home. I also felt sorry for him. So I resigned from my job. Never did I expect that I would return to the day I resigned. Seeing that resignation letter, I tore it to shreds in a few quick moves. Since fate has given me a second chance at life, this time I will no longer sacrifice myself for him. Outside, Jianyu's mother's voice came. Xiaoshu, aren't you going out? Pick up some groceries on your way back. Jianyu fell ill these past few days, so I took a few days off to take care of him at home. His mother has been subtly urging me to quit my job and take care of Jianyu. I checked the time and realized it was almost time to go to work, so I grabbed my bag and left. This time, I'm going to live my life to the fullest. 4. As soon as I arrived at the newspaper office, I saw my arch-nemesis, Dooley, seeing me head towards the editor-in-chief's office. She followed behind, speaking in a shrill voice. Shinchioshu, are you here today to resign? I heard your husband has become a famous writer. Are you really going to go home and enjoy the life of a wealthy housewife? I stopped, pulled out a job application, and waved it in front of her. Sorry to disappoint you, but I'm not here to resign. I'm here to apply for the position. In my previous life, Dooley and I were both assistant editors, competing for the senior editor position. During the crucial period of the competition, I quit and became a homemaker, while Dooley shined and climbed the career ladder. Years later, as I sat by the coffee table picking vegetables, I watched her glowing on TV, being interviewed. Times change, and in this life, I won't let this promotion opportunity slip away again. Entering the office, I brought up the matter of competing for the position with the chief editor. Chief Editor Su took off his glasses and hesitated for a moment. I've heard about Jianyu's illness, and I thought you'd quit your job to take care of him at home. He has a bright future ahead of him, and as his family, you'll certainly benefit from it too. In my past life, I heard this kind of talk way too often. Everyone kept saying how successful and promising Jianyu was, and as his wife, I should always consider his needs, but I'm not willing to anymore. I straightened my back, my voice firm and clear. Editor-in-chief, although I am now Jianyu's wife, I am first and foremost myself. I may not be as capable as Jianyu, but I'm not lacking either. How do you know my future won't be bright? The editor-in-chief paused for a moment, then looked at me more closely, as if seeing me for the first time. He stammered, "That's not what I meant. I was just, concerned about Mr. Zhang's health." I smiled politely. Jianyu's health isn't great, so hiring a nanny would suffice. His current income isn't short of that money. Exactly, hiring a nanny would do. The editor-in-chief gave a forced smile, picked up his pen, and signed my application. Now that it's decided, you should prepare well. There will be a competitive selection next month, and I hope you perform well. Thank you, Chief Editor. 5. As I left the chief editor's office, Dooley was still waiting for me. I waved the application at her, taunting. The chief editor signed it. Let's compete on the same stage next month. Humph, who's afraid of whom? Dooley raised an eyebrow. I walked back to my spot. At that moment, Dooley whispered behind me, Shinchioshu, I'm glad to be your rival. I looked at her in disbelief. She gently patted my shoulder. I really thought you were here to resign today. I was scared to death. You and I are both serious college students, getting into college wasn't easy. If you really quit your job for Jianyu, I would truly look down on you. So, that's what she was thinking. No wonder in my previous life, she always gave me the cold shoulder. It was because she hated that I wasn't trying hard enough. Feeling a bit teary, I just sniffled twice, and she started rubbing her eyes first. Oh no, something must have gotten into my eye. It must be the bad feng shui here. I'm outta here. This person is quite adorable. 6. I didn't get home until after work. The house was dark and cold. Jianyu was resting in the room, and my mother-in-law was sitting on the sofa, eating melon seeds. Seeing me return, she asked irritably, "Do you need a whole day to quit your job? You didn't buy any groceries, didn't cook dinner. Do you expect me to wait on you?" I ignored her, put down my bag, changed my clothes, and prepared to go to the kitchen to make a bowl of noodles. My mother-in-law followed me and said, "Are you deaf? Can't you hear me talking to you?" I gave her a cold look and said, "Who said I was going to quit? I have a perfectly good job at the newspaper. Why would I quit?" This time, it was her turn to be shocked. "Jianyu is in such poor health now. You're his wife. Who else should take care of him if not you? Hire a nanny. Your son is so capable. He must have enough money to afford one." "Right, hire a nanny. Why would you need one when you can take care of him yourself?" I chuckled as I looked at her and said, "I'm not a professional servant. How could I be more professional than a nanny? Besides, even though I don't earn as much as Jianyu, my monthly salary is definitely more than a nanny's. In this society, earning more money is always a good thing." "Mom, you're not uneducated. Can't you do the math?" My mother-in-law couldn't argue with me, her chest heaving with anger, her finger pointing at me for what felt like an eternity. The noodles were ready, so I walked past her to the table, sat down, and started eating. Jianyu heard us arguing and slowly came out of his room. His lips were purple, and he spoke in a weak voice. "Qiu Shu, what are you arguing with my mom about? She's my mom. Can't you show her some respect?" "We weren't arguing. Your mom asked me to quit my job to take care of you, but I don't think it's necessary. We can just hire a nanny since your mom is here too. 2 people should be more than enough to look after you." Jianyu pressed his chest and said irritably, "I don't want a nanny. I'm not used to having strangers in the house." I put down my chopsticks and looked at Jianyu. He's thin and quiet, and his face is still good-looking, but his heart is bad, too selfish, unaccustomed. "Then you'll just have to get used to it. Anyway, I'm not quitting. We're all adults, independent individuals. I don't have to accommodate you, and..." I gave him another once-over. "You're just a bit frail. Not paralyzed or disabled, unable to move. Hiring a nanny would be overkill." "Shin Xiushu, you..." Jianyu was so angry he was gasping for breath. "Your words are so harsh." "Harsh words? At least my words are better than your actions." I slurped down my noodles and ran back to my room. 7. In the evening, my mom called me again. He started off with a barrage of accusations. "Jianyu's mom told me. And I hear you're refusing to quit your job to take care of Jianyu." I rubbed my forehead in annoyance. "Jianyu isn't paralyzed or disabled. Hiring a nanny to cook 3 meals a day for him isn't enough." My mom chimed in again. "A nanny can't take care of him as well as a wife. And Jianyu is going to be a great writer, a celebrity. Besides, how much money can you make at that job? Just quit already. Come back to take care of him, and keep an eye on him to make sure those little temptresses don't lure him away." I quickly interrupted her. "It may not be much money, but it's my job. If you're so eager to take care of him, go ahead and do it. A son-in-law is half a son, so why don't you step up and be his mother? You'd definitely be more considerate than me." "Shin Xiushu, it seems you're getting more and more out of line." My mom was about to continue her rant, so I just hung up the phone. Because Jianyu is famous and makes good money, even my own mother is on his side. I unplugged the phone line and was about to head back inside when I saw Jianyu standing eerily outside the room, staring at me. "Is it that you don't like me?" I raised my hand to silence him. "Don't you dare pin this on me. Your mom doesn't work, and you can afford a nanny, so why are you constantly picking on me? The way you act. I'm starting to suspect your family is committing marriage fraud. Your heart condition certainly wasn't discovered after we got married, was it? Are you just waiting for me to marry in so I can clean up your mess?" Jianyu was so furious with me. "If that's the case, we'll get divorced tomorrow." "I won't divorce. Why would I get divorced?" I leaned against the wall, disdainfully saying, "Just because I don't want to quit my job and become a housewife, you want to divorce me, Jianyu? If you insist on this, I'll have a good chat with my colleagues from the entertainment news and get you on the front page tomorrow." "Shin Xiushu, you. Jiang Yu was so angry it felt like his heart was hurting. I glanced at him twice before calmly fetching the medicine and feeding it to him. I'm not getting a divorce. Let me divorce him so he can be with his white moonlight, dream on. He's at the height of his fame now and will go on to become a renowned writer. I'm a newspaper editor. And by leveraging his connections, I can get in touch with many celebrities. If I can secure a few exclusive headlines, my career will be on a great path too. In my past life, he took everything from me. This time, it's my turn to make the most of it. Pursuing love, nothing beats the thrill of building a career. 8. Jiang Yu didn't want to hire a nanny, but his mother wasn't happy about it. I'm old, with creaky bones and joints. I can't be running after you all day, taking care of you, can I? I objected. Please remove you all. You're only taking care of your son. I solve my 3 meals a day at work, and I wash my own clothes. I haven't been a burden to you. Jiang Yu's mother was furious and slammed down her chopsticks. I'm going back to the countryside tomorrow. Do whatever you want. If you don't even care about your own son, why would you expect me, an outsider, to care? Shinxiushu, you. The mother-in-law couldn't argue with me and clutched her chest, crying out in pain. I paced to the window and deliberately shouted loudly outside, "Oh dear, Mom, your heart isn't good either. Is this a hereditary heart condition in your family? TSK. I'm so unlucky. If I had known your whole family had this issue, I wouldn't have married into this family." Jiang Yu walked out with a cold expression. Stop calling. If no one wants to take care of me, then hire a nanny. I shrugged, showing indifference. Your mom has nothing to do, and even she isn't willing. I'm even busier. Jiang Yu glared harshly at his mom, who averted her eyes guiltily. Jiang Yu's mom went back to the countryside, and a nanny was quickly found. It was Aunt Wang from next door. Aunt Wang is efficient and a great cook, but she has a loud voice and loves gossiping. I like Aunt Wang. Since she arrived, there's no such thing as privacy in our family anymore. If Jiang Yu farts today, the whole neighborhood will know by tomorrow. Even a famous writer's fart is just like anyone else's. Jiang Yu hates people like Aunt Wang the most, but there's nothing he can do. She watched him grow up, so he can't bring himself to fire her. I'm happy as long as I can make Jiang Yu uncomfortable. 9. The job competition quickly began. When it was my turn, the other judges asked the same questions as the chief editor. I heard your husband is a writer. Why don't you just stay home and be a rich housewife? You don't have kids yet. If you do, will it interfere with your work? How will you balance work and family? I appear calm on the surface, but inside, I'm rolling my eyes to the heavens. Dooley was just grilled as well. She's sitting in the back, also rolling her eyes. Men don't have to balance family and work, but we women have to take care of the home and be ambitious. TSK. I straightened up and said loudly, men and women are equal. If men don't need to balance, then we women don't need to either. My husband is a writer, so I don't need to sacrifice my career. The judges were curious about my statement. What do you mean by that? Since Jiang Yu is local and so well known, why not take advantage of the proximity? I suggest the newspaper dedicate a section to hosting a celebrity tea party. Leveraging Jiang Yu's fame, we could organize regular gatherings, interview him and his friends, and cover topics like literary perspectives, gossip, and industry trends. Such a valuable network is right here, and not utilizing it would be such a waste. After I finished speaking, the room fell silent. After a moment, the judges began whispering to each other. I walked off the stage and over to Dooley, who gave me a thumbs up. Girl, you're amazing. I never realized you're the type who could sell your husband. I thought you were so precious about Jiang Yu, always worrying he'd catch a cold, get hungry, or be unhappy. I flipped my bangs. The boat has sailed through countless mountains. Let's not dwell on the past. All I care about now is work. If you told me selling Jiang Yu could make me editor-in-chief, I'd pack him up overnight. Dooley gave me 2 thumbs up after hearing that. Now that's the kind of woman who can hold up half the sky. At the end of the month, the results of the competition for the position were announced. Surprisingly, both Dooley and I became editors. Hey, wasn't there only supposed to be one spot? Dooley and I looked at each other in confusion. The editor-in-chief walked over. Qiao Shu, the leadership is very interested in your proposal for a celebrity tea party, so, we're giving you a separate section to take charge of this project. Do you think you can handle it? Of course I can. I was overjoyed, and Dooley and I clapped and laughed together. Dooley grasped my hand. Let's work hard together. When it comes time to compete for the position of editor-in-chief, I won't go easy on you. Don't worry, I won't be lenient either. Dooley and I exchanged smiles. our eyes filled with admiration for each other. 10. After getting promoted, my monthly salary increased by 500. I got up early to pick out the best ribs, and then asked Aunt Wang to make me sweet and sour pork ribs. Auntie Wang was eager to give it a try, as she was most skilled at making these hearty braised dishes, since Jianyu couldn't eat heavily seasoned dishes, and had to stick to plain porridge and simple side dishes every day. It was driving Auntie Wang crazy. When I handed the spare ribs to Auntie Wang, her eyes lit up. These big ribs are really good. Today, let me show you my skills. Believe me, my sweet and sour ribs are absolutely amazing. After learning about my promotion and raise, Aunt Wang asked about my preferences and made 2 extra meat dishes for me. The table was filled with perfectly cooked meat, truly hitting the spot. Jianyu, however, looked unhappy. Aunt Wang, I can't eat this, it's too oily. Auntie Wang brought out a plate of stir-fried cabbage. I know you can't eat much, so I specially made you a plate of cabbage. Then she went on nagging, Xiao Jiang, it's not that Auntie is scolding you, but your body is like this because of your diet. Every day it's just green vegetables and plain porridge, not a single bit of meat. How can your body be healthy? Which man doesn't eat meat every meal? Look at Qiu Shu, his body is better than yours. People still need to eat more meat. Jianyu's face turned pale from the scolding, and he slammed his chopsticks down. I paid you to come here, so I tell you what to cook, you cook it. Wang Yi's temper flared up. You paid? How much have you actually paid? Let me tell you. If it weren't for Qiu Shu keeping me here, I would have quit ages ago. And you call yourself a great writer. Every day, you're pinching pennies, counting every few cents with me. Being your nanny isn't worth the exhaustion, just like in my previous life. Although Jianyu made a lot of money and also gave me a living allowance, he was extremely stingy. Every penny I handle must be accounted for, with receipts, and reimbursed based on actual expenses, even for buying groceries. Every day I have to keep track of how many pounds and how much it costs, down to the cents. The ledger is kept in the drawer of the living room. He says money is meant to be spent, but secretly, he checks the accounts to make sure I'm not cheating him out of his money. Now, he treats Aunt Wang the same way. 11. Aunt Wang was unhappy and offended, so she didn't come the next day. I wasn't willing to take care of Jianyu either. After eating instant noodles for 2 days, he couldn't stand it and went to the labor market to find a nanny. Unfortunately, Aunt Wang, the big mouth, had already spread the news about his stinginess far and wide. Buying groceries requires you to pay out of pocket first and then get reimbursed, down to the penny. The floor must be scrubbed on your knees, inch by inch, with no dust allowed in the corners, and every half month, all the books in the house need to be aired out. He's a modern-day Zhou Bapi. No one wants to work as a nanny in our house. Even if someone does come, they leave after just 2 days. Jianyu called his mom, who said she had twisted her back and couldn't come. Jianyu angrily slammed down the phone. I sat on the sofa, leisurely eating fruit. He turned back to me, grumbling, Shin Qiushu, you're my wife. Do you really expect me to starve? I was speechless. You have hands and feet. Why don't you cook for yourself if you're hungry? Jianyu was furious. I'm a writer. My hands are meant for writing, not for dealing with and doing these menial chores. I rolled my eyes and mimicked him. So what should we do? I'm an editor, a wordsmith. I can't be doing these menial chores either, can I? Jianyu, our esteemed writer, from now on, every morning when you wake up, open the window, stick your head out, and take a few deep breaths of the northwest wind. That should keep you full. Since you're practically a celestial being who can survive on wind and do alone. Shin Qiushu, Jianyu had lost all composure, so angry he wanted to hit someone, his hand already raised. I leaned my face closer and said, hit me, right here. If you land that slap today, tomorrow I'll make sure you're on the front page of the newspaper. Renowned writer commits domestic violence. Jianyu's hand hung high in the air, then reluctantly dropped down. The room remained eerily quiet for a while. I finished my fruit, wiped my hands, and glanced at him. I can handle hiring a nanny, but you have to agree to one thing. Jianyu retorted, why should I agree to anything for you? Because you want to become more famous. I told him about my idea of hosting a celebrity tea party. I knew he wouldn't refuse. The reason he broke up with Gunyan was that Gunyan's parents didn't approve of him. No stable job, no source of income, and no social status. Although he has gained some recognition for his writing, it's far from enough to impress Gunyan's parents. Jianyu, you seek fame, and I pursue profit. I extended my hand. If we can't be good spouses, can we at least be partners? Jiang Yu's expression changed repeatedly, his eyes darting around, and finally, he huffed and swatted my hand away. I agree to the partnership, but it's settled. You'll be responsible for my 3 meals a day and daily life. I nodded, no problem. 12. It was easy to find a nanny. On top of the price Jiang Yu offered, I added another 200 yuan from my own pocket, and soon found a suitable nanny, Sister Zhou. After Jiang Yu started eating warm meals, he also agreed to regularly invite his writer friends over for a visit. Initially, the guests at the tea party were little-known writers. However, they all had interesting conversations and were willing to accept my interviews. After a few episodes, the segment received great feedback. The editor-in-chief also praised my choice of topics and encouraged me to continue. The reputation of the Jiang Yu celebrity tea gathering has gradually spread, attracting more big names eager to join. Jiang Yu's vanity has been greatly satisfied. My work reports are also looking better and better. The editor-in-chief approached me, offering a month-long training session abroad, with plans to nominate me for excellence by the end of the year, and considering a promotion for me by next spring. When I got home in the evening, I told Jiang Yu that I would be traveling for a month and couldn't do the interview for now. Jiang Yu's reaction was very indifferent. Then we'll pause for a while. I don't mind. This attitude made me sense something unusual. I remember him mentioning that the next issue might feature foreign scholars, which should be very beneficial for his publicity in an international context. I quietly approached Sister Zhou and asked her to keep an eye out for any strangers coming to my house while I was away on a business trip. 13. My 1-month business trip was extended to a month and a half. When I returned home, only Sister Zhou was there. Jiang Yu was not. Sister Zhou's eyes lit up with curiosity when she saw me back. Xiao, let me tell you, something's up with Mr. Jiang. As expected, while I was away on business, Jiang Yu had met someone at home. It wasn't even an outsider, it was Gun Yan. So the foreign scholar Jiang Yu mentioned, Gun Yan was among the group. Sparks flew, and Sister Zhou mentioned that the two of them stayed in the study all day long, and Jiang Yu even gave Sister Zhou an extended leave. Mr. Jiang said he would still pay me, and told me not to tell you. But I think he's being unfair. Sister Zhou was indignant. I'm a woman too. And I absolutely despise men with such improper behavior. I calmed Sister Zhou down and told her I already knew, and that she should just act normally in front of Jiang Yu. Gun Yan is back, and it seems Jiang Yu is about to confront me. I pretended nothing had happened, went to work as usual, and organized tea parties. Jiang Yu kept sneaking glances at me, as if wanting to say something, but couldn't get the words out. Until the next tea party, Gun Yan showed up uninvited. 14. Qiao Shu, hello. I'm Gun Yan. Gun Yan extended his hand to me, appearing polite. Everyone else on the trip called me Mrs. Jiang or Editor Shen, but she addressed me by my first name. The provocation was quite evident. I extended my hand. Hello, Miss Gu. I often hear Jiang Yu mention you. Everyone else looked on with curiosity, and Gun Yan's expression changed. Editor Shen, do you know Miss Gu? My apologies. I'm not familiar with Miss Gu's pen name. Some curious individuals, assuming Gun Yan was a new writer, started asking questions. I smiled enigmatically. You can ask Jiang Yu. She's his white moonlight and his muse. Jiang Yu blushed, and when Gun Yan saw me being straightforward, she didn't shy away either, sitting right next to Jiang Yu. Such things were common in their circle, and they just laughed it off. When the gathering ended and everyone left, Gun Yan wasn't planning to go either. She plopped back down on the sofa and poured herself a cup of tea, as if she were the rightful mistress of the house. Miss Gu, it's getting late. You're not planning to stay at my place, are you? I was clearly trying to get rid of her, but she just smiled and stayed silent. Jiang Yu looked at her, then at me, cleared his throat, and said, Qiao, I need to talk to you. I sat down across from Gun Yan and said, I'm listening, go ahead. I want a divorce. Jiang Yu said softly, oh, I didn't take the bait. Just quietly watched him and Gun Yan. Jiang Yu stammered under my gaze, I know it's my fault, and I'm willing to compensate you. How do you plan to compensate me? I sipped my tea and asked him. Jiang Yu said as if making a great sacrifice, I'll give you the house. I don't want it anymore. The house isn't worth much, I sneered. Not just the house. I also want half of your income. How could that be? You're daydreaming. These two actually voiced their dissatisfaction in unison. 15. Since you don't agree, I won't get a divorce. What's in it for me to get a divorce? I'm not doing it. I grabbed Gun Yan by the collar and shoved her out. She clung to the doorframe and yelled at me. Jiang Yu doesn't love you. why are you hogging the place? I feel like it, and you can't do anything about it. Shin Qiushu, you. I slammed the door shut before she could finish, almost hitting her. Jiang Yu said with concern from behind, take it easy. I gave him a cold look and said, what a perfect match, rotten fish with stinky shrimp. Jiang Yu, let me tell you, I won't get a divorce unless you pay me enough. Jiang Yu knew he was in the wrong and sullenly went back to his room. I still have to go on a business trip out of town before the new year, and before leaving, I warned Jiang Yu to think it through carefully, either pay me enough, and I'll divorce him, either stick to it and keep writing my column. Jiang Yu didn't protest at the time, but when I returned, the house was empty, and all his things were gone. Sister Zhou said that as soon as I left, he moved out. Xiaoqiu, do you think Mr. Jiang might really abandon this family? Let him go. I comforted Sister Zhou. As long as we haven't divorced, legally we're still husband and wife, and half of his money will always be mine. 16. It's said that Jiang Yu bought Gunyan a 3-bedroom apartment in the most bustling area. One room is used as a bedroom, while the other 2 were converted into Gunyan's wardrobe and dance studio. The entire interior design was based on Gunyan's ideas, featuring bold and avant-garde styles, even making it into a local magazine. In my previous life, even though I took care of him all my life, I never had my own room, and Jiang Yu would never spend his money on me. When Dooley showed me the magazine, I was brainstorming ideas for the next issue. Look at this woman, is she the fox spirit by Jiang Yu's side? Gunyan's photo in the magazine was bold and unrestrained, matching the color scheme of the room behind her. I nodded, yes, she's Jiang Yu's first love. Seeing that I wasn't as angry as she expected, Dooley was unsure and cautiously asked, so Jiang Yu is never coming back home now? What are your plans for the future? I knew she was concerned about me, but I stopped caring long ago. In my previous life, I worked myself to the bone for Jiang Yu, and even on his deathbed, all he thought about was Gunyan. This is nothing compared to that, I reassured her. It's just a house. As long as Jiang Yu and I aren't divorced, the house will eventually be mine. If you like it, I'll let you stay there once I get it. Dooley thought I was joking and punched me. You jerk. Dreaming. That's for Jiang Yu's little lover. How could it be for me to stay in? I smiled. It's coming soon. Gunyan was educated in the Western style from a young age, full of passion, openness, and vitality. Jiang Yu can't keep up with her, or more accurately, Jiang Yu's body can't keep up. Sure enough, just before the new year, the tragic news came from Jiang Yu's side. He was hospitalized. When I received the hospital call, I didn't want to go, but the doctor said there was no one around Jiang Yu, and he kept mentioning me, so I had to go. I went to the hospital reluctantly. Jiang Yu was breathing with an oxygen mask, covered in wounds, with a broken leg hanging there. When he saw me, his eyes lit up. Qiushu, you're here. I stood aside disdainfully and asked him what happened. It turned out that he and Gunyan went hiking and accidentally rolled down the mountain, losing consciousness, and were only sent to the hospital after being discovered. You can go hiking. I looked at him in disbelief. With Jiang Yu's fragile heart, can he even handle such an intense activity as hiking? That would definitely shorten his life by several years. It's all Gunyan's fault. She insisted that hiking is good for health and dragged me along, which is why I got dizzy and fell. What about Gunyan? Why wasn't she with you? When she saw me fall, she thought I was dead and ran off long ago. Jiang Yu is so angry he's grinding his teeth, but I couldn't care less. Serves you right. 17. The ward was quiet, and Jiang Yu's gaze burned into me. I ignored him and rolled my eyes, saying, Gunyan ran away. What do you want from me? Aren't you the one who wants a divorce? Jiang Yu wanted to reach out and pull me, but I dodged, and he awkwardly said, I've already had the lawyer cancel the divorce agreement. There was silence for a while longer. Qiushu, do you believe in past lives and reincarnation? Could it be that Jiang Yu has also been reborn? I frowned, feeling a bit nauseous. Jiang Yu didn't notice my discomfort and continued, when I was unconscious, I had a dream. In the dream, the doctor said I wouldn't live past 40, but you never gave up, taking good care of me and allowing me to live until 60. Qiushu, it was all my fault before. Can we start over? Jiang Yu's gaze was intense, but all I felt was disgust. No, I don't believe in past lives or reincarnation. All I know is that you're a two-faced, heartless hypocrite. I refused resolutely, and Jiang Yu couldn't believe it. He was astonished. How is that possible? You used to like me so much, and even now you're dragging your feet about marrying me. Isn't it because you're waiting for me to come back? I spat at him. You sure know how to paint yourself in a good light. I don't agree to the divorce because I don't want to see you and Gunyan together. I just can't stand to see you happy, that's all. After that, I repeated word for word what the doctor had just told me. The doctor said that due to this accident, Jianyu's heart was severely damaged and would need surgery to repair it. Even with surgery, he might only live a few more years. What? Only a few more years to live? How is that possible? Jianyu was extremely agitated. I was supposed to live to 60. Quack, quack. He turned to me, pleading, Xiao Shu, I'll give you all my money. Please save me, won't you? Apparently, he had realized that in his previous life, he had lived to 60 thanks to my care. I pretended to be clueless. How can I save you? The doctor said you need surgery, and I'm not a doctor, so I can't help you. No, you have a way, you just don't know it, but you're really good at taking care of me. How could I possibly not live for a few more years? I clearly could live a long life, up to 60. I threw up my hands. Then I don't know, that's what the doctor said, I'm just the messenger. Whether or not to have the surgery is your decision. What should I do? Jianyu lay on the bed, weakly staring at the ceiling. 18. Jianyu chose not to have the surgery and left the hospital in a wheelchair. I don't believe this quack. I'm a lucky person, and heaven will bless me to live until I'm 60. I followed behind, not even wanting to acknowledge him. In my previous life, he lived to 60 thanks to my 10 years of meticulous care. I was the one who blessed him. Jianyu also didn't choose to go home. He hired someone to push him away, saying he was going somewhere. I was too curious and sneaked after him. It turned out he went to find Gunyan. The two had a fierce argument. Gunyan knelt on the ground crying bitterly, and Jianyu actually slapped her. I watched from a distance, thinking Jianyu had gone mad. He actually hit Gunyan. Over there, Gunyan took a slap and stopped pretending. She quickly stood up and slapped Jianyu back. You sickly wretch. I haven't even blamed you for deceiving me. You collapsed just from climbing a mountain. I seriously doubt you're hiding an illness from me. You have a wife and haven't divorced her, yet you come after me. I didn't, and you dare to scold me. With that, she slapped Jianyu again. Jianyu sat in his wheelchair, furious, struggling to get up. The next second, he fell to the ground with a thud, clutching his chest. Gunyan's face turned pale with fear, and she turned to run, with the men Jianyu hired chasing after her, trying to stop her. He's killed someone. He's killed someone. I slowly walked up to Jianyu, who was clutching his chest in pain. Seeing it was me, he raised his hand, pleading for me to save him. I gripped his hand and whispered into his ear, in your previous life, didn't you beg me to let you and Gunyan be together when you died? This time, I didn't stop you, so why didn't you live well? Jianyu's eyes widened in shock as he stared at me. Shin Qiushu, you actually, but he couldn't speak anymore. His lips had turned completely purple, and his eyes were fixed on me. Soon, the police car arrived, followed by the ambulance. When Gunyan was handcuffed and put into the police car, she saw me, her eyes were bloodshot, and she glared at me fiercely, just like Jianyu. I smiled at her, pointed my finger in Jianyu's direction, and made a sleeping gesture. This time, I didn't stop you from being together, so how is that not a blessing? 19. Jianyu passed away without receiving medical treatment. He died before reaching the hospital. As for his so-called white moonlight, she was imprisoned for intentional injury. Jianyu's mother is relentless, threatening that as soon as she is released, she will make her life miserable. With such a big cash cow like Jianyu gone, how could his mother not be furious? As Jianyu's legal wife, it was only natural for me to inherit his estate. I also reclaimed Gunyan's house, and I asked Dooley if she wanted to live there, for free. Rich lady, I love you to death. She was over the moon, had all the furniture replaced, and moved in with great fanfare. With the title of Jianyu's widow, I organized several memorial events, sold a lot of books, and also cashed in on Jianyu's legacy. In a couple of years, I plan to write a book like Memoirs of My Deceased Husband, My Past with Jianyu, or Jianyu's Drawing Room, to exploit him again and vent some of my past grievances. Story 2. For 3 years of our marriage, he has always hated me. When I was kidnapped, I asked him for help, but all I got was a cold refusal. She's just a substitute, you can do whatever you want with her. His white moonlight also chimed in with a smile. If it wasn't for her forcing me into marriage, we would have been together long ago. Let her suffer. It can be the price for what she did wrong. That night, I was tortured until I had a mental breakdown and accidentally fell from the rooftop. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the eve of getting our marriage certificate. At that time, He received an invitation text from his white moonlight and flew from Shanghai to Beijing overnight. As soon as he left, I immediately bought a plane ticket and followed him. My friend asked, "Are you going to Beijing to catch him cheating?" "No." I shook my head and gave a faint smile under her surprised gaze. "I'm going back to Hong Kong City." This time, he went north to be with his beauty. I went south to pursue my dream. 1. The last scene of my previous life. I dragged my broken and stinking body and stumbled as I fell from the rooftop. My rib pierced my lung, and blood gushed out of my nose, forming a gaudy red flower on the ground. The intense pain of falling from the building hadn't dissipated. Time and space turned. When I opened my eyes again, what greeted me was a bathroom filled with steam. Several reckless young masters from the Shanghai circle surrounded me, speaking in a lewd tone. "Sister, if there's no mirror at home, there's always urine, right? Look at your shabby appearance. Do you think you're worthy of being Brother G's fiancé? You're daydreaming. Come on, let us help you come to your senses." The leader sneered and pointed the shower head at my face. The water at 0 degrees flowed down my hair, making me shiver. In my blurry vision, CG, who looked a few years younger, leaned against the door with a cigarette in his mouth. The lighter twirled between his fingers. With a whoosh, the flame ignited. "Sure Yuan," he called my name, with a gentle brow, but the words he said were like the unmelting ice in spring. "Since you came here on your own initiative, I might as well make things clear. The marriage contract arranged by the elders doesn't count. Do you understand?" He tore the gilded marriage certificate that I had carefully treasured for years into pieces. The fluttering pieces of paper fell, like an endless snowfall. I pressed my lips together and remained silent. My gaze went past him and landed on the opened bottle of whiskey on the table. Only then did I belatedly realize this wasn't the bloody death scene after I was kidnapped and humiliated. Instead, it was 3 years ago, on the eve of getting married to CG. 2. The thin rice paper folded into a frame-by-frame picture. It pulled me into distant yet clear memories like a revolving lantern. It's ridiculous to say, this torn marriage certificate was signed by me when CG accompanied his grandfather to Hong Kong for medical treatment, after hearing that my little uncle had excellent medical skills. He moved next door to my house and coaxed me to sign and seal it. At first, no one was optimistic about this relationship. The Schur family has been practicing medicine for generations and stays away from the Vanity Fair. The C family, on the other hand, is a powerful presence in the business world of Shanghai. The gap in our family backgrounds was too great. Grandpa C thought it was just the young man's infatuation in adolescence and didn't take it seriously, but CG was so earnest. He pleaded with the elders of both families to agree. He knelt on the ground, swearing an oath to treat me well for a lifetime. I was moved by this sincere affection and firmly held his hand, standing firmly by his side. The tug-of-war lasted for half a year. Grandpa C had no choice but to relent and agree to the marriage contract. We had a short but happy time together. "A Yuan, I like you. I like you so much that I want to marry you and spend my whole life with you." The young man stared at me, his eyes shining brightly. He seriously framed the rice paper and wrote our names stroke by stroke with gilded ink. Later, when Grandpa C recovered from his illness, he prepared to return to Shanghai. Before leaving, CG hugged me tightly, almost crushing me into his bones. "Wait for me, I'll come and pick you up." But unfortunately, he broke his promise. From the age of 17 to 27, we had a long-distance relationship for 10 years. When I came to Shanghai full of anticipation to make CG fulfill his promise, all he gave me was a sentence: "The marriage contract arranged by the elders doesn't count." I sat in the dimly lit stairwell and shed tears. I couldn't figure out what went wrong. Even if we really wanted to break up, there should be a reason. When everyone in the room left, I pushed open the half-closed door again, but I was hugged by a drunken man. He pressed me against the window. "A Yuan, you're back." His hot breath landed on the side of my neck. Before I could speak, my lips were sealed with an affectionate kiss. 3. The next morning, the doorbell rang. I rubbed my sore waist and opened the door. I thought it was the maid, but it was actually Grandpa C who came to visit his grandson. We were caught in the act. Even though CG was reluctant, he married me as a matter of course. On the wedding day, during the toast ceremony, there was a girl who looked 7 or 8 points like me sitting in the audience, with red eyes, raising her glass to offer congratulations. "Congratulations, I wish you a happy marriage and a long life together." CG didn't respond. His hand hanging by his side was clenched so tightly that the veins stood out, and his knuckles turned white. After a while, He snatched the wine glass and drank it all in one gulp from the place where she had drunk. His tone was difficult. "Thank you, Ji Yuan." At that moment, I suddenly realized, it turned out that on that night, the Yuan he called was Qin Zi Yuan's Yuan, and I was just a substitute for the white moonlight he had been longing for. Before his beloved returned to the country, he had wanted to break up with me, but he mistook me for her when he was drunk. It caused a lifelong regret, so for the 3 years of our marriage, CG had always hated me. It could even be said that he loathed me. He never looked at me directly. Even a casual physical contact would make him pull away as if he had been electrocuted. He treated me like something dirty. On our anniversary, I was kidnapped by his business rival, who forced him to give up a piece of land in Pudong worth billions. In the abandoned factory, I trembled and asked him for help on the phone. All I got was a cold refusal. Where does President Chen get the confidence to think she's worth so much? She's just a substitute. You can do whatever you want with her. Even if you break her, I won't feel the slightest bit of pity. Qin Ziyuan also smiled and echoed, "She deserves it. If it wasn't for her forcing him into marriage, we would have been together long ago. Let her suffer. It can be the price for what she did wrong." The call was abruptly hung up. The kidnappers looked at me even more furiously. What followed was a night of humiliation and torture, until the first light of dawn. I curled up in the corner, naked, like a broken doll. I wanted to escape and call the police, but because of my mental breakdown, I accidentally fell from the building and died. In the last second before my consciousness faded, I didn't think about anything else. I just thought, if there is a next life, I will love the mountains and the waters. I will never fall in love with CG again. Absolutely not. Fortunately, God took pity on me. He gave me a chance to start over. My thoughts came back. The old memories ebbed away like a tide. The grievances and heartaches that had been pent up for a long time in my previous life still lingered. I bit my lip, unable to hold back, and a stream of hot tears fell. "Damn it, seriously, you're crying. You really love Brother G, don't you? You're such a pathetic little dog who licks others." Everyone burst into laughter. They were sure that I was deeply in love with CG and couldn't bear to leave him. Even CG himself thought so. He raised his eyebrows, his tone impatient. "Put away those cheap tears. Do you think crying will make me soft-hearted and change my mind?" The crystal light shone on his face. His amber eyes were shining brightly. His eyes were as dazzling as the scorching sun, but his gaze was almost cold. "Sure, Yuan, you should know your place. There's a huge gap between us. I condescended to play with you for a few years. It's already your fortune. Be sensible and stop pestering me. We're even." I wiped away my tears and said the first sentence after being reborn, "You can call off the engagement." But CG's expression froze. He seemed to have never expected that I would agree so calmly. In his stunned moment, I picked up the bottle of whiskey on the table and unscrewed the cap as quickly as possible. The sherry-colored liquor was poured out completely. The young masters who had insulted me were now covered in wine stains, looking extremely embarrassed, including CG. He lowered his eyes, his crow-feather-like eyelashes quivering slightly. His expensive shirt and watch were completely ruined. I wrung out my long hair that was still dripping water and met his incredulous gaze. I said word by word, "This is what it means to be even." Amidst the many sighs, I didn't stay for a second and turned around and left neatly. Watching Shi Yuan take the elevator downstairs without looking back, CG felt a bit of annoyance in his heart. It was the middle of winter, the cold snowflakes were falling, and frost flowers bloomed on the windows. She was only wearing a thin sweater. She took a plane from the warm Hong Kong city to the cold and damp Shanghai. She didn't even have time to add an extra coat and rushed to see him in a hurry. But she was humiliated in public and the engagement was called off. Based on his understanding of Shi Yuan, she should have been so sad that her eyes were red from crying. At the very least, she should have sobbed and tried to persuade him to stay. Why did she agree so calmly and leave so resolutely? It wasn't just CG who was confused. Those friends also couldn't figure it out. Didn't Brother G say that his fiancée has a gentle personality and loves him with her life? She doesn't seem like that. The way she threw the wine just now shocked me. If Sister Ziyuan is a pure and flawless magnolia, then this substitute is an iris with its roots soaked in poison. Although she's dangerous, she has a unique charm. CG's hand that was taking off his watch paused, and he raised his eyes to look at them. He smiled faintly. "What? Are you interested in her?" His casual tone carried a strong sense of oppression. Everyone present didn't dare to breathe loudly and quickly waved their hands to deny it. We don't have the guts to touch what belongs to you, brother G. He put away his smile and gave the order to leave. Get out. A counterfeit that could only provide some comfort wasn't worthy of being compared to his Ji Yuan, but he didn't know why. When someone showed interest in Shi Yuan, he actually felt unhappy, very unhappy. This inexplicable emotion dissipated instantly when he received an invitation text from Qin Ziyuan, a G. I'm holding a violin concert in Beijing at 8 o'clock tonight. Are you free to come and support me? I've reserved a VIP ticket in the central position for you. CG's brows relaxed, and he replied eagerly, okay. He changed into a clean and neatly tailored dark gray suit and prepared to fly from Shanghai to Beijing overnight. Before leaving, out of the corner of his eye, he saw a blue sapphire brooch with a smooth luster. It was the return gift that Shi Yuan gave him during the engagement. It was also the last heirloom left by her mother. She told me to give it to the person I would spend the rest of my life with. I thought, you were that person. The girl's red ears and shy confession were still vivid in his mind. The corners of CG's lips curled up involuntarily. Yes, she loved him so much. How could she be willing to let go? She was probably pretending to be free and easy and agreed to call off the engagement out of anger. When she calmed down, she would surely regret it. He was sure that within 10 days, Shi Yuan would come to his door again, tearfully begging for reconciliation. At that time, if he was in a good mood, he might consider keeping her in Hong Kong City as a canary that couldn't see the light, one in the north and one in the south, not interfering with each other. 6. The snow was falling heavier and heavier. After walking out of the villa area, I waited by the roadside for half an hour. Finally, my friend's car arrived. She saw that I was wearing thin clothes and my nose was red from the cold. She handed me a soft blanket and a cup of hot ginger tea. What's going on? Weren't you here in Shanghai specifically to find your fiancé? Why do you look so embarrassed? I didn't say a word. My gaze shifted to the suddenly lit screen of my phone. Qin Ziyuan was being interviewed by the media. Promoting tonight's violin solo concert, the reporter asked half-jokingly, Miss Qin became famous at a young age and has been sailing smoothly all the way. Your career is so successful. What about your love life, which your fans care about the most? Is there any progress? Qin Ziyuan tidied up the stray hair by her ear and smiled shyly at the camera. I have someone I'm cultivating a relationship with. The audience gasped in surprise. She changed the subject, resting her chin in her hand and pretending to be troubled. However, there's a girl who, while I was abroad, deliberately approached him with a face similar to mine. She's really bad. As women, we should understand and help each other. Please, Miss Sher, stop trying to steal someone else's boyfriend. Okay. The more she spoke, the more aggrieved she looked, and she lowered her head. The fans at the scene were instantly enraged. Oh my god. Who on earth is the shameless mistress who's bullying our Yuan? It's really disgusting. In the era of social media, information is open and transparent. In less than 10 minutes, my personal information was exposed, and my private photos were everywhere. Look, it's her, Shi Yuan, the attending physician at Hong'an Hospital in Hong Kong. Ordinary people should just be honest and work as wage slaves. Don't be delusional. The male lead status is noble. And you're not someone a country bumpkin like you can cling to. It's said that he comes from a top wealthy family in the Shanghai circle, with the surname C. I don't dare to reveal anything else. Anyway, he's a perfect match for our Yuan. Hee. Qin Ziyuan is so fake. Can't you brainless fans see that she's deliberately inciting online violence? The person upstairs is a black fan, right? Your words stink. In reality, are you like that bitch Sure and like being a mistress? Girls help girls. I really need someone to beat her up. It's better to revoke her medical license. My social media accounts were quickly flooded with unbearable private messages of abuse. My friend browsed the comment section with a frown. She was my close deskmate in high school and knew how much CG had done to get engaged to me when he was 17. She had seen the marriage certificate that the young man had written with his own hands, so she didn't believe Qin Ziyuan's words at all. This woman is crazy. Doesn't she know that CG took the initiative to pursue you and propose to you? Qin Ziyuan certainly knew. In my previous life, I had told her the whole story, but she just wouldn't believe it. She repeatedly provoked and framed me, getting me expelled from the medical field. When questioned, she was unapologetic. You stole a G who should have been mine. I destroyed the dream you had been pursuing for years. It's fair, isn't it? I was so angry that I wanted to slap her. CG stopped me. That's enough. If you go crazy again, get out of the C family. Grandpa C leaned on his cane and came downstairs. He acted as a peacemaker as usual. After all, she's the niece of the person who saved your life. Don't make things too embarrassing. It won't sound good if it gets out. After a few words of mild admonition, he pulled a stern face and scolded me sharply. You've been married into this family for so many years, but you still haven't learned how to please your husband. You're such a waste. This kind of situation had happened no less than 100 times in the past 7 years, but at that moment, I suddenly didn't want to endure it anymore. I saw Qin Ziyuan pitifully tugging at CG's sleeve, hiding behind him and smiling triumphantly at me. Looking at Grandpa C's imposing manner, he completely forgot who it was that allowed him to continue living. I sneered and slammed the door as I left. Sure Yuan, CG called out to me, if you dare to leave today, don't even think about coming back. I didn't stop walking and didn't even look back. The most sincere and beautiful throbbing in my youth, with pure and passionate love, the young man who effortlessly took the lead in my youth and haunted me through countless spring, summer, autumn and winter, I'm finally willing to let go. That night, I drafted a divorce agreement with a lawyer. When I went to a hotel to stay temporarily, I casually hailed the nearest taxi. At that time, I didn't know. Because of this, I would ruin the rest of my life. 7. Hey, is that your fiancé's car? My friend's familiar voice rang in my ears. I pulled myself out of my memories and looked in the direction she pointed. A black Bentley drove out of the underground garage and headed towards the private airport. The license plate number was 58, a symbol of the heir of the C family. My friend started the car and wanted to chase after it to stand up for me. Damn it. Why can that scumbag disappear so comfortably? Before Qin Ziyuan returned to the country, you were already CG's legitimate fiancé, according to the order of first come, first served. She's the shameless interloper. I held down her excited hand. I flipped through my phone's photo album and showed her 2 photos. One was the medical record of CG accompanying his grandfather to Hong Kong for medical treatment. The patient's privacy was mosaicked, and only the consultation date was left. The other was a photo of CG successfully proposing to me. The unrestrained and flamboyant young man put his arm around my waist, and I smiled and leaned on his shoulder. The diamond ring on my ring finger reflected a dazzling light under the bright spring light. I showed the clear evidence and posted to clarify with the complete timeline of my relationship with CG. I didn't deliberately approach him, let alone steal someone else's boyfriend. If Miss Qin spreads more rumors, I will use legal weapons to safeguard my reputation. After clicking to post, I switched to the travel app and immediately bought a plane ticket. My friend asked, "Are you going to Beijing to catch him cheating?" No. I shook my head and gave a faint smile under her surprised gaze. I'm going back to Hong Kong City. This time, CG went north to be with his beauty, and I went south to pursue my dream. 8. The plane flew across the boundless sky. It had been 3 hours since I landed in Hong Kong City. The topic of the famous violinist distorting the truth and smearing an ordinary person topped the inland entertainment list. The comment section was abuzz with discussion. Damn, the reversal came so quickly. I felt sorry for Qin Ziyuan just now. I didn't expect her to be lying. Does she think of us netizens as fools? I said she deliberately incited online violence before, and her followers attacked me. Now I want to ask, do their faces hurt? I think you're like Longjing tea from 1982, a real green tea at Qin Ziyuan. Stop pretending to be mute. Why don't you apologize to the ordinary person? The fans didn't have time to whitewash her. They could only watch as tens of thousands of negative comments kept refreshing. But a few seconds later, the trending topic was suddenly removed, and the topic disappeared. All the IDs that attacked Qin Ziyuan were banned. A large number of paid trolls also joined in to guide the public opinion. As we all know, photos can be photoshopped. If you don't believe it, I can show you my wedding photo with Ping Yuyan. Wow, it looks so realistic. Could it be that the bitch sure also used high tech? I'm a photographer. I deal with countless photos every day. I can swear on my chest that there are traces of artificial synthesis. Great. With the identification of a professional, Maya Yuan has finally cleared her name. My nails dug into my palm. I stared at the comment section and smiled sarcastically. At the same time, an unfamiliar phone call came in. It was CG's secretary. Mr. C asked me to convey that if you don't want Dr. Zhou in Hong Kong City to encounter a car accident for no reason or be stabbed by an extreme patient when he makes a house call tomorrow, please delete the Weibo immediately and keep silent. I'm sure Mr. will obediently listen. After all, he's the only family member you have in this world. I held my breath. My back stiffened against the wall. It was as if there was a hand in my chest, clutching my heart and stirring it with all its might, to help Qin Ziyuan regain her good reputation. He didn't hesitate to use the person I cared about the most as a bargaining chip to threaten me into compromising. CG, you're really despicable. 9. The air was silent for a long time. I held back my anger and agreed to delete the post and cancel my account. After the other side was satisfied, I threw the phone that had been burning in my palm at the lamppost with great force. My emotions were on the verge of losing control. The uncontrollable resentment and unwillingness gushed out like a volcano in an instant. It almost made me lose my mind. Asshole. Go to hell. I searched for words in my mind and cursed CG with the most vicious words, until the cheerful alarm rang. The note showed that it was time to send supper to Zhou Ziyu. He was busy with surgeries and often didn't have time to eat, and he had a stomachache from time to time. I composed myself, stood up, and went to the opposite alley to buy a steaming bowl of wonton noodles. Then I ran all the way to Hong'an Hospital and knocked on the door of the doctor's office. It was the night shift. My colleague, who was buried in writing medical records, looked up. When he saw it was me, he called out to the corner of the last row, "Dr. Zhou, your little niece is here on time again." The man who was named had been staring at the iris by the windowsill in a trance. When he heard this, he suddenly turned around and looked at me. The fireworks on the other side of Victoria Harbour shone on his deep and bright eyes behind the gold-rimmed glasses. He was like the cold moon in the night sky, making people not dare to have any delusions. My thoughts were in a daze for a moment. I remembered the last video call in my previous life. He was saving lives in South Sudan, a barren land ravaged by malaria and war. I stared at his arm, which was injured by a stray bullet and wrapped in a white bandage soaked in blood. I felt so heartbroken that I shed tears. He was in so much pain, but he kept comforting me. Yuan, don't cry, little uncle is fine. How are you doing in the C family? I couldn't say I was doing badly. I was afraid he would worry, and I was also afraid he would be sad, so I lied to him. I wonder how he felt when he came back from the medical team in Africa, after hearing about my death and reading the detailed report of the kidnapping case, and learning that CG had refused to save me. What are you here for? Zhou Ziyu broke the silence first and pulled my thoughts back. Aren't you supposed to hate little uncle? He didn't look at me and stared ahead, but the end of his voice was trembling. I suddenly remembered that at this time in my previous life, I was just arguing with Zhou Ziyu. He had always disliked CG. He reluctantly agreed to the engagement because of my repeated pleadings. When I told my friend that I hadn't seen CG for a long time during the long-distance relationship and wanted to take a long leave to go to Shanghai to see him, Zhou Ziyu stopped me. He asked, Yuan, do you like him that much? Relying on his love for me, I blurted out, otherwise, little uncle has stopped me from meeting my fiancé several times. Could it be that you have a crush on me and want to play the role of raising me? Unfortunately, I don't like old men like you. His face darkened, and he seemed very angry, but even when he was angry, he didn't say anything hurtful to me. He even stewed my favorite fish soup and patiently coaxed me to eat. But I had already climbed out of the window, run away from home, and boarded the flight to Shanghai. I only left a note, I hate you. Thinking of this, I embarrassedly supported my forehead and smiled bitterly. I was wrong, little uncle. I apologized smoothly, but it was obvious that the person in front of me didn't want to accept it. Zhou Ziyu picked up the stethoscope on the table, walked past me expressionlessly, and uttered 2 words with his thin lips, excuse me. The evening wind blew in through the window crack and lifted the hem of his white coat. The strong smell of disinfectant in the air was mixed with the faint fragrance of cedar. I felt a moment of loss and wanted to catch up with him quickly, but the bag of wonton noodles in my hand suddenly burst. The steaming soup spilled down. Hiss. Zhou Ziyu, who had just stepped out of the office, heard my unbearable hiss and immediately stopped. He picked me up around the waist and placed me on the empty examination bed. He rummaged through the cabinets to find the burn ointment and helped me apply the medicine. The noodles spilled. I'll go and buy another portion. Don't ignore me, okay? I hung my head and apologized seriously again. The hand that Zhou Ziyu held my ankle with paused, and the slightly thick calluses on his palm made me feel itchy. His fingertips landed on the crimson spot on my pale skin. He gently rubbed and turned it. His eyelashes trembled slightly. After a short silence, he sighed resignedly. Yuan, you know very well that I could never really be angry with you. Don't say that you hate me again. I will also be sad. The man's voice was as low and magnetic as ever, but it made my heart tremble. 10. Perhaps too many things happened today. On the way back home that Zhou Ziyu drove, I sat in the passenger seat and watched the flashing neon lights reflect the edge of the halo on the car window, in a daze. I actually dreamed of scattered fragments of my previous life. It was the 7th day after my death. Zhou Ziyu received a call from the police and returned to the country to deal with my aftermath. When choosing a cemetery for me, not far away, CG and Qin Ziyuan were holding a grand wedding of the century with white doves flying around the church. He held my urn and gave some instructions to the people in the cemetery. Then he left calmly. At night, the bride and groom, who should have been having sex in the bridal chamber, were injected with sedatives and thrown onto the cruise ship. On the deck, there were the bodies of President Chen and the 2 kidnappers. Qin Ziyuan was pregnant, leaning against CG's arms. She protected her bulging belly and pleaded weakly, "Please, don't hurt me. Sure, Yuan's death really has nothing to do with me. It's just that she had bad luck." Zhou Ziyu smiled. Without saying a word of nonsense, he slit her throat with a knife. "Didn't you say that Maya Yuan deserved to die?" The blood splattered on his clear jaw, and there was a captivating charm in the dark night, accompanied by CG's angry and shocked roar. He raised the knife and brought it down again. A sharp pain welled up from my chest to my head. CG curled up in pain, breathing heavily, and said intermittently, "I don't hate a Yuan. On the contrary, I love her very much." When she asked me for help, I was angry that she left without a second thought and even sent a divorce agreement through a lawyer. That's why I spoke harshly to her. But as soon as I hung up the phone, I regretted it. I even gave up the piece of land in Pudong privately. I didn't expect that she would die. Zhou Ziyu listened expressionlessly, and the hand holding the knife pressed down continuously. The sharp tip of the knife pierced the heart of the culprit, and there was no chance of survival. After confirming that all the people who had hurt Shi Yuan were sent to hell, he slowly stood up, straightened his messy trench coat, and looked towards the noisy pier a few meters away. The brilliance of the police cars reflected on his face. That day, Zhou Ziyu, the talented surgeon admired by thousands of people in Hong Kong City, was imprisoned. 11. I woke up from the dream with wet eyes. The car stopped by the roadside. Zhou Ziyu leaned tiredly against the car body. The cuffs of his shirt were casually unbuttoned, and he quietly looked at the iris blooming in the yard. In front of him was a Western-style house with unique decoration. Since my father sacrificed during the fight against the epidemic, less than half a year later, my mother's depression relapsed, and she committed suicide by taking medicine as a burden. I was passed around like a ball by other relatives. Everyone found me annoying and didn't want to raise me, who was 10 years old, except for the student from the mountainous area that my father had sponsored, Zhou Ziyu. At that time, he was still studying at the medical university and was busy with his studies near the end of the semester. When he learned that I was about to be sent to an orphanage, he rushed over from the examination room and protected me behind him. "You don't want her." "I do." I clutched the hem of my skirt and looked up with teary eyes. I saw Zhou Ziyu standing in the chaotic light and shadow. The warm afternoon sun fell into the morning hall, shining on him. He bent down in that light and shadow and embraced me in a half-hug. "A Yuan." He imitated my father's doting tone and said, "Would you like to come with me?" There was no one else around, just him. He gently rubbed the corner of my red eyes and promised word by word with a firm voice, "Little uncle is a bit poor, but I will try my best to take good care of you." He kept his promise. In just a few years, our home was moved from the old and cramped apartment building to this spacious and bright villa in the western suburbs. Just as life was getting better, I, who was infatuated with love, married CG without hesitation and stepped towards death under the torment of marriage, and Zhou Ziyu, from a doctor without borders with honor, became a prisoner overnight. He's so good, in this life. He shouldn't bear any more infamy or suffer any more harm because of me. As for me, under Qin Ziyuan's aggressive smear and CG's coercion, I can only break the old and establish the new. I will embark on a new life path. I don't have to care about the public opinion in the mainland, and I can focus on achieving my dream. I don't have to be constrained by CG anymore. I sat in the car and thought for a moment. Then I added my name to the top list of those going on the medical mission to Africa in the hospital group chat. The moment the message was successfully sent, the special attention notification sound rang on Zhou Ziyu's phone. He lowered his head and glanced at the screen, then bent down and opened the car door. When his originally cold and indifferent gaze touched me, it softened instantly like the morning mist. The participation time for the MSF rescue mission is at least 6 months. And there is no upper limit for the tenure. Anything can happen during this period. we may bleed, get injured, or even die. Even so, do you still want to go with me? I nodded, and as our eyes met, Zhou Ziyu seemed to think of something. A look of understanding flashed in his eyes, and he pulled the corners of his lips, looking a bit lonely. You had a fight with him again. It wasn't a questioning tone, but an affirmative one. I was suddenly stunned. When I had conflicts with CG in my previous life, I did do something stupid a few times. I pretended to leave for a distant place to make him anxious. Well, since I sowed the seeds, I have to bear the consequences. I gave a bitter smile. I stood on tiptoe, grabbed Zhou Ziyu's tie, and got closer to him, even closer, until his ears turned a noticeable red. Then I softened my voice and patiently explained, "Little uncle, we didn't have a fight, we broke up." After I finished speaking, it was as if a meteor flashed across the galaxy, and Zhou Ziyu's pupils brightened. A gentle breeze blew in the cool night. It ruffled the spring water in his eyes. 12. When the last willow sprouted in late spring, Qin Ziyuan agreed to CG's confession. At this time, it had been 3 months since Shi Yuan called off the engagement. CG didn't understand. After all this time, why didn't she come to him and ask for reconciliation? Could it be that she was playing the game of playing hard to get? Frankly speaking, the substitute left sensibly and stopped disturbing. He should have heaved a sigh of relief, but he felt empty inside. He often lost his concentration at work, stared blankly at his phone, as if waiting for someone's call. Several times, he interrupted his subordinates who were making reports. He asked involuntarily, did Shi Yuan cry when she deleted the Weibo? The secretary thought carefully and shook her head. Miss Shi didn't cry. But she was very angry and called you a bastard. Go die 250 times. CG was stunned for a moment. A faint smile spread across his lips. TSK, she's really like an iris whose roots are soaked in poison. At that moment, he didn't even realize how doting his smile was. There were more and more such moments. Qin Ziyuan also noticed his change and felt a strong sense of crisis. She always him, both openly and subtly. I heard that there is a priceless pink diamond in Sotheby's auction house. Would it look good on me? CG didn't answer. He thought of the diamond ring on Shi Yuan's hand. It was a basic model from the D brand, costing just over 10,000 yuan. It was cheap but versatile. With his wealth, he could easily afford a brand that was thousands of times more expensive, but at that time, he thought that Shi Yuan, a young girl from a small town in Hong Kong City with an ordinary background, had never seen anything good in her life. Just buy her some small things to fool her. Qin Ziyuan was different. She was the one he had liked for a long time. When he was young, he caught a glimpse of the girl in a white dress playing the violin on the stage. She was so otherworldly and had stayed in his memory for many years. But now that he had her, he thought she was just so. Qin Ziyuan had a cold and aloof appearance, with an elegant temperament. There was no teardrop mole at the corner of her eye, and she was not as charming as Shi Yuan. Her figure was not as soft as Shi Yuan's, and it wasn't very satisfying in bed. After eating delicacies for 10 years, he suddenly switched to plain congee. CG wasn't used to it and found it rather dull. He pushed away Qin Ziyuan's hand and said, "It doesn't suit you," then went to sleep in the study. In fact, it was his birthday today. Qin Ziyuan didn't remember. It didn't matter. There was still Shi Yuan. In the past, she always prepared a gift half a month in advance and sent him a birthday wish at the right time. Even during the Cold War, it was no exception. But this time, when the clock pointed to 0, the chat box with Shi Yuan was still silent. He couldn't help it and sent a message, "Aren't you going to wish me a happy birthday?" after waiting for more than 10 hours. He didn't get a reply. "Are you ignoring me?" When he sent the second text message, he received a striking red exclamation mark. Shi Yuan had blocked him. CG laughed out of anger. Very well, her temper has gotten worse. It seems that he has to go to Hong Kong City in person, catch her back, and teach her a lesson. When he arrived at the Shi family's villa, it wasn't Shi Yuan who opened the door, it was her friend. The other person blocked the door and wouldn't let him in. "Shi Yuan isn't here." CG caught the hostility in her eyes and sneered, "What, did she move overnight to avoid me?" He kicked open the door and barged in. "Shi Yuan isn't in Hong Kong City. Where did she go?" he asked coldly. "When will she be back?" "She went to South Sudan and joined the Doctors Without Borders organization. I personally sent her to the airport. A few days ago, I was transferred to work in Hong Kong City." Shi Yuan said that she won't come back for the next 3 years. Since the house would be empty, she told me to stay here at ease. CG stumbled as he walked up the stairs. He could barely stand. for the next 3 years, she won't come back. These words were like sharp hooks, piercing into his heart word by word, making it bleed. The door of the bedroom at the end of the second floor wasn't closed. It was Shi Yuan's room. The furniture and furnishings in the room were still the same, but all the photos of him on the wall were gone. CG suddenly realized something and rushed to the trash can. Sure enough, he saw the ashes left after the photos were burned, and the ring that still shone brightly despite the passage of time. Shi Yuan had erased all the traces of his existence and resolutely and quietly withdrawn from his life. CG stood there in a daze for a while, then he bent down, picked up the ring, and held it tightly in his hand with great care. The diamond dug into his skin, making him shed tears. His fingertips caressed the sapphire brooch on his suit. The sweet memories of the past turned into sharp knives, repeatedly torturing his most painful nerves. Only at this moment, he finally knew that when Shi Yuan broke up with him, it wasn't just out of anger. The last heirloom left by his mother, she didn't want it anymore. She didn't want him either. 13. At 3 o'clock in the morning, CG returned to the old house. He didn't sleep all night. There were thick dark circles under his eyes, and the stubble on his chin had grown out, but he still didn't feel sleepy. He wanted to go to the corridor garden to catch the wind. When he passed the back garden, he accidentally heard Qin Ziyuan talking on the phone with someone. This place was secluded, and few people came here. On a whim, he always stumbled upon some secrets. What's more, it was late at night. For example, now, the woman was sitting on the swing, swinging her legs, and her voice was filled with indescribable annoyance. "What do you want me to do? Stay in Berlin with a bad reputation and continue to be your mistress, to be humiliated by your wife at will? Anyway, if you don't plan to divorce, don't contact me anymore. I'm not without a way out. Don't think you can trap me with the child. Even if I'm pregnant, I can find someone to take the blame." Way out, someone to take the blame. CG suddenly stopped in his tracks. A storm gradually brewed in his eyes. He didn't expose her on the spot. Instead, he had someone investigate the truth of Qin Ziyuan's going abroad that year. She claimed to be studying abroad for advanced studies, but in fact, she was kept as a mistress by a professor from a top German conservatory. Not only that, but even her famous debut work when she was 14 was obtained by selling her body. In other words, she was a kept woman of that mentor. When she was discovered by the original wife, she was beaten and scolded, and then she returned to the country in disgrace. The true face of the flawless Magnolia was revealed. It was ugly and unbearable. CG smiled self-deprecatingly. For the first time, he felt that this was retribution. The retribution for pushing Shi Yuan away. On the day of the showdown, CG didn't say anything. He just had a cold expression and raised his hand to slap her. Qin Ziyuan was stunned by the slap and asked with tearful eyes, "Gee, what did I do wrong?" A stack of photos was thrown at her. The photos were very revealing. In the pictures, she was naked, sitting on the professor's lap, playing the violin with a lascivious expression. The man's hand was wantonly kneading her breast. Qin Ziyuan was stunned for a few seconds and let out a scream. She tried to cover those photos with her hands, as if as long as she covered them, they would no longer exist. She grabbed his wrist almost pleadingly and made a pale excuse. "Gee, listen to my explanation. It's not what you think. I didn't do it voluntarily. He forced me. I'm an orphan girl with no background. How can I fight against the capital? Really, you have to believe me." CG pushed her away. Qin Ziyuan fell to the ground, and her slightly protruding belly hit the corner of the table. She spasmed in pain. In a panic, she thought of her last trump card. "I'm pregnant. Gee, the child is yours. You can't treat me like this." CG remained unmoved. He looked down at her indifferently. He wasn't a fool, nor was he a pushover. He had already asked the hospital to retrieve Qin Ziyuan's pregnancy report, which she had tried so hard to hide. He knew that she was more than 3 months pregnant. This child could never be his. A continuous stream of liquid with the smell of rust flowed out from between Qin Ziyuan's legs, staining the white floor tiles red. CG turned his head in disgust and didn't want to look at her anymore. He ordered someone to drag her out of the old house. "Don't dirty the home that I have with Shi Yuan." Qin Ziyuan, who was dragged out of the house, suddenly heard the name Shi Yuan. She changed from her usual gentleness and shouted hysterically, "Don't you still miss that bitch? CG, stop pretending to be affectionate. Wasn't it because you couldn't have me that you settled for her as a substitute? Why are you regretting it now that she's gone?" CG originally wanted to let her off. After venting his anger, he had already called an ambulance, But she had to be mean and scold his Yuan. "What the hell are you? How dare you humiliate my fiancé?" He couldn't stand it anymore. He stepped forward a few steps, ignoring Qin Ziyuan's extremely weak body. He firmly grasped her neck. "I was just bewitched by you for a while. Now I'm sober. As long as I lower my head and apologize to Shi Yuan, since she loves me so much, she will come back to me sooner or later." Qin Ziyuan was choked and couldn't breathe. Her face turned from white to blue. She still refused to back down. "Come back to you, you're daydreaming." In South Sudan, the surrounding countries are eyeing it covetously. Who knows when there will be a war? Who knows if she can come back alive? Suddenly, a thunderbolt flashed across the sky outside the window. CG's pupils suddenly shrank. He dazedly released his hands that were holding Qin Ziyuan. Endless panic and fear intertwined to form a dense net, trapping him tightly. Since he learned that Shi Yuan had stepped into that poor, backward, and war-torn place without saying a word, he had been muddled and trying to escape, he naively thought. When the 3-year term was up and she returned to the country with honor, he would definitely do everything he could, either pestering her or kneeling down and losing his pride. He could always beg for her forgiveness, but he never thought that in such a dangerous place, with such a difficult rescue mission, what if his Yuan couldn't come back? At that time, no matter where he searched, he would have no more chances. When he realized this, his heart ached, and a sweet and fishy taste welled up in his throat. He spat out blood all over the ground. 14. After CG coughed up blood, he fell into a coma for 3 days. During this period, Qin Ziyuan had a miscarriage. When she woke up, she went crazy in the obstetrics and gynecology department when she learned that it was too late to send her to the hospital and she couldn't keep her uterus. The family members of the patients on the same floor took pictures of her and uploaded them to Moments. Once it spread, netizens were ballistic again. "Goodness, I really can't believe it. There's actually a follow-up to this mess after so long. Qin Ziyuan and the young master of the C family are in love. It's nothing surprising that a handsome man and a beautiful woman had an affair. As far as I know, the child isn't young master C's, it's her teacher's. The professor who helped her debut is almost 50 years old. Don't be so malicious. How can you spread rumors about a woman casually?" At Qin Ziyuan's studio, gather evidence. A PPT made by the professor's wife in the Berlin study abroad circle was passed around a few days ago. There were a lot of intimate photos in it. Is there a kind soul who can lend me a way to access the internet? I want those stubborn fans to go and take a look. Haha, it's called getting what you asked for. Tisk, looking at it this way, the ordinary person who was cyberbullied before really didn't interfere in their relationship. That's right, when she was with young Master C. Qin Ziyuan was still serving that old man. By the way, where is Shi Yuan? I checked the hospital's duty schedule, and her name hasn't been on it for a long time. Could she really have been fired? Woo-woo, please don't, we really have a big sin. The public opinion intensified. Qin Ziyuan, who had lost CG's protection, was completely defenseless. First, she was proven to be a mistress by the original wife. Then, her senior sister from the same school held her ID card and bravely spoke out. She said that Qin Ziyuan had asked her for the recorded master tape several times and played the violin fraudulently at the concert. Her assistant also came forward to expose her, saying that she had been bullied for years. Whenever Qin Ziyuan was unhappy, she would scold and beat her and even put out a cigarette butt on her arm. With all these scandals combined, it caused public outrage. The organizer cancelled all her upcoming collaborations. Even the professor who had kept her was implicated and removed from the industry. At this point, the name Qin Ziyuan was completely nailed to the shame pillar of the music industry. There was a time difference between South Sudan and the domestic country, plus, the communication equipment was unstable. When Shi Yuan saw these news, it was already the second week, but she didn't have time to care about those grudges and entanglements. The field hospital was overcrowded. There was a gun battle between the government and the rebel army. The United Nations refugee camp was caught in the middle, and stray bullets flew by. The doctors who came with her were severely injured and some even died. Medical supplies were in short supply. She watched as the heart rate of her former teammates who had fought side by side rose from 100 to 200. Finally, it unwillingly returned to 0. There was nothing she could do, when she was at a loss. The supplies brought by the third batch of peacekeeping troops from her home country finally arrived. She quickly collected the medicine and was about to leave, but she was stopped by a familiar male voice. Shi Yuan, in a foreign land, someone accurately called out her name. She turned around in surprise, staring at the face of the person in front of her. She thought for a long time. She finally recognized that he was CG's cousin, Si-heng. He was wearing a stiff camouflage military uniform. He took out a small package from the supply vehicle and stuffed it into her arms. Ji is seriously ill. The old master only has him as his beloved grandson. He's so precious that he won't let him come to such a dangerous place. He sent people to keep an eye on him 24 hours a day. He really had no choice and couldn't get away, so he asked me to bring this to you. She opened the package. She saw what was inside. The Lotus Buddha amulet from Puji Temple. The red string bracelet from Longhua Temple. The protective talisman from Baiyun Temple, the blessed beads with incense ashes from Meijo Mazu Temple, all kinds of peace talismans from Buddhism and Taoism. He had begged for all of them. Seeing her silence, Si-heng continued, during the days you'd been gone, Ji really misses you. He's such a proud person, but now he's like a walking corpse. He dragged his sick body around, praying to all the gods and Buddhas. He also went to Chuanzhu Temple in Aba Prefecture and hung a kilometer-long 5-colored prayer flag and scattered londa. He hoped that they could protect you in this war-torn country. I know that what Ji did before was wrong. He broke your heart, but now he knows he's wrong and has drawn a clear line with Qin Zi Yuan. Sure Yuan, can you forgive him this time? At least give him a chance to make up for it. Si-heng admitted that he was meddling. It wasn't his place to comment on other people's relationships, but thinking of CG's pleading expression, he couldn't bear it and conveyed all the words CG wanted to say. Sure Yuan looked down at the peace talisman in her palm. She gave a soft laugh. When she looked up again, she masked the self-deprecation and cold sarcasm in her eyes. The resentment towards CG shouldn't affect others. He treated you as a substitute and humiliated you for so many years. How can I forgive him? The past, like yesterday, is dead. The future, like today, is a new beginning. She couldn't forgive him. Not hating him was already her greatest tolerance. Si-heng looked at her apologetically. She was much thinner than before, and her complexion had darkened a lot due to the scorching sun and the swirling yellow sand, but her eyes were clearer than when he saw her in Shanghai. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving now. After saying this, Sure Yuan ran to another tent and injected Zhou Ziyu, who was lying in bed unconscious, with an antibiotic. His face was pale, and he had a high fever from the continuous treatment overnight. A few days ago, due to the lack of medicine, his condition had dragged on and turned into pneumonia. She took a cold towel and gently wiped his forehead to cool him down. Zhou Ziyu, please get better soon. Outside the tent, Si-heng watched the scene silently. Seeing Sure Yuan's anxious expression, he knew very well, his bastard cousin would probably never be able to win this girl back. 15. In Shanghai, tens of thousands of kilometers away, CG slumped on the sofa, drinking bitter wine. His body had actually recovered almost completely, but the old master was keeping a close eye on him, afraid that he would be stubborn and go to South Sudan to find Sure Yuan. He sent a group of bodyguards to follow him, even when he went to the bar to drown his sorrows. It was no exception. His friends knew that he was in a bad mood recently and tried to persuade him. Come on, brother G, being so gloomy all the time isn't good. Look, who have we brought for you? Hey, this girl looks exactly like Sure Yuan's double. The girl who pushed the door open was young and was wearing a black silk maid's rabbit costume. She knelt on the ground submissively and inserted a piece of watermelon with a fork and offered it to his mouth. He didn't take it. He lifted her face frivolously and sneered as he commented, so vulgar. The girl was humiliated for no reason and left with an embarrassed expression. Brother G, are you serious? Is it that except for Sure Yuan, no other woman can catch your eye? This is the most similar substitute we could find. CG tilted his head back and took a gulp of strong liquor. The smile on his lips was bitter. She does look like a Yuan, but she's not my Yuan. He smashed the wine glass and threatened. If anyone dares to bring any random woman in front of me again, I'll turn against them. He really intended to be faithful to Sure Yuan. Qin Zi Yuan had never received such treatment before. Everyone fell silent immediately and just buried their heads in drinking, not daring to say another word. The atmosphere was stagnant, until CG's phone vibrated. A few minutes ago, he asked his cousin if he had added Sure Yuan's WeChat. Everyone in his circle had been blocked and deleted by her. Si-heng took the time to reply with a single word, yes. CG immediately perked up and begged him to do him another favor. Since he couldn't see Sure Yuan in person, it would be good to be able to see her moments. A few screenshots were quickly sent over. CG chased away his friends from the private room, turned off the noisy music, and stood by the window. He carefully looked through every update Shi Yuan had made since she arrived in Africa. Sihing said that she had accepted those peace talismans. Did that mean she was willing to forgive him? When he clicked on the picture, CG's heart was pounding. 2025, 3/7/11/38. On the first day here, the food was mixed with yellow sand. When little uncle picked out the sand for me bit by bit, the howling wind rang in my ears, along with the chaotic gunshots and the mournful cries from the banks of the Nile. I can't imagine how much suffering the people here have endured. My insomnia has gotten worse. 2025, 3/21/18/10. Someone in the medical team was infected with Ebola. They unfortunately sacrificed. I held back my tears and picked 2 flowers and placed them on the coffin. I watched her leave, but clearly, when she had a video call with her family last night, she was smiling and acting coquettishly, saying that she wanted to eat the sweet and sour spare ribs made by her mother. I'm very sad. I even thought childishly, if I hadn't come to this land, would I not have to face so many separations and deaths? But even if I close my eyes, does the suffering not exist? 2025, 4/14/00. I haven't been in a good state recently. Little uncle noticed and talked to me for a long time. I honestly told him that I'm actually very scared. I'm afraid of the bullets and the impermanence of life. I'm afraid that next time, the person lying in bed with a cold body will be him. He looked at me for a long time and hugged me for the first time. He said that he was also afraid of losing me, despite being afraid, but this is the meaning of our existence. 2025, 5/15/23/50. Just do good deeds and don't ask about the future. 2025, 5/21/20/21. It's a Yuan's birthday today. She unexpectedly posted a photo of their hands interlocked. When he saw the hand in the photo, CG's eyes widened in shock. The piece red string that he had begged for while dragging his sick body step by step was on another man's wrist, the Yuan who used to belong only to him. The Yuan whose every birthday wish was related to him. This time, her wish was Zhou, I only want you to be safe. With a bang, CG accidentally dropped his phone, and the screen shattered into pieces. The midsummer wind blew in through the window. For the first time, he felt that summer was cold. That night, he drank to drown his sorrows and lived in a drunken dream. In a half-awake state, all he could think of was Shi Yuan. At the age of 17, Shi Yuan, who smiled and accompanied him to write the marriage contract and shyly gave him the engagement gift. At the age of 20, Shi Yuan, who knew he was picky about food and crossed half of the country to cook for him late at night. At the age of 23, Shi Yuan, who saw him sending another woman home, curled up into a small ball and cried in the corner, and then humbly sent him a voice message saying, CG, coax me, and I won't be angry with you anymore. At the age of 27, Shi Yuan, who learned that she was a substitute on their wedding night, held back her tears and asked him if he had never loved her, but was met with his more disgusted gaze. At the age of 29, Shi Yuan, whose career was ruined, wanted to reason with Qin Zi Yuan but was impatiently scolded by him and left disappointed. Scene after scene, it kept washing over his memory. Finally, it froze on the night before the divorce at the age of 30, when Shi Yuan was humiliated to death and fell from the building. He suddenly opened his eyes. A flash of a knife. Qin Zi Yuan held a fruit knife and stabbed at him like a madwoman. In fact, he could have dodged, but when he thought about how he had treated Shi Yuan in his previous life, his heart ached so much that he couldn't breathe. A rotten person like him didn't deserve Shi Yuan's forgiveness. He should be doomed to hell for all eternity. In the moment before his consciousness dissipated, he reached out his hand into the empty air and murmured to himself, "A Yuan, I've paid off all the debts I owed you in my previous life, right? Don't hate me anymore." 16. When the 3-year term of MSF ended, Zhou Ziyu and Shi Yuan held a simple wedding in South Sudan, witnessed by the local residents. He gently put his arm around the bride's waist and placed a pious kiss on her forehead. On the way back, he held a medical book in his left hand, with the medal awarded by the medical team inserted in the book, and held the little girl's hand with his right hand. Everything was so beautiful that it seemed unreal. Perhaps this was just an illusory dream. At the moment when he was closest to happiness, it came to an abrupt end. It was me who dragged my broken and stinking body and stumbled off the rooftop. The tall trees by the roadside shed their green leaves and were bent under the weight of the white snow. The touch in his right hand suddenly disappeared. He was stunned for a while, His gaze slowly moved to the diagnosis certificate inserted in the book in his left hand. It was written in black and white. Patient, Zhou Ziyu, male, 37 years old. After the long prison sentence, he suffered from hallucinatory psychosis. His head ached for a moment. He suddenly remembered. Sure, Yuan had been dead for 10 years. The world is full of illusions, and only pain never lies. It's a pity that life isn't a fairy tale. His Yuan didn't come back to life. They didn't end up together. She didn't even know until her death. He loved her. Story 2. I've been dead for half a year due to a car accident, but my husband, Lu Feng, still thinks I'm being unreasonable and is waiting for me to go back and apologize to him, until one day, he suddenly couldn't find a watch. That watch was given to him by his childhood sweetheart. Since it was broken, I was asked to take it to the watch shop for repair. He called to question me. Shenqing, have you had enough of this nonsense? If we can't get along, we can get a divorce. Who are you trying to show this attitude to? Where did you put the watch I asked you to take for repair? Did you hide it from me? After all these years, you still can't get rid of your jealousy towards Wan. It was my sister's voice on the other end of the phone. Congratulations, Lu Feng. Shenqing is already dead. She will never be jealous of Lin Wan again. 1. I died in a car accident. That day, I had an argument with Lu Feng, just because I had just found out that I was pregnant and wanted to share the joy with him, but he was going to accompany Lin Wan to celebrate her birthday. I didn't let him go. He said I was being unreasonable and that if he had wanted to be with Lin Wan all these years, they would have been together long ago, and it wouldn't have been my turn to marry him. I was so angry that I smashed things at home and vented all the grievances I had accumulated over the years. He couldn't stand it and slapped me. Shenqing, have I given you too much leeway all these years? There was no feeling of being heartbroken. At that moment, I suddenly lost all hope. I turned around and left. Shenqing, if you walk out of this house today, don't come back. He threatened me from behind, as he wished. I really couldn't go back. When I drove away, I encountered a serious car accident, and both me and the baby died. My sister came to deal with my affairs. Perhaps she was too angry, so she didn't tell Lu Feng the news of my death. After I died, my soul somehow followed Lu Feng around. Maybe I still had some lingering attachments. I watched as he still went to celebrate Lin Wan's birthday that day. I watched as he prepared small gifts for her on every festival in the past 6 months. I watched as he would rush to accompany Lin Wan the moment she called, even if it was raining knives outside. Sometimes Lin Wan would kindly ask about me. Hasn't Shenqing come back yet? Did I cause the discord between you two? If so, I'll call Shenqing and apologize to her. It has nothing to do with you, it's her own fault. Lu Feng said coldly, don't worry about her, let's see how long she can hold on. After 7 years of our relationship, I ultimately failed to leave even the slightest mark on Lu Feng, or perhaps, from the very beginning, I shouldn't have appeared in their world. With or without me, his life goes on as usual. I was still his burden and nuisance. Just when I thought Lu Feng's life would go on indifferently like this, until that day, when Lin Wan suddenly asked about the watch she had given him. He suddenly thought of me, then he called me impatiently. Shenqing, have you had enough of this nonsense? If we can't get along, we can get a divorce. Who are you trying to show this attitude to? Where did you put the watch I asked you to take for repair? Did you hide it from me? After all these years, you still can't get rid of your jealousy towards Wan. 2. My sister answered the phone. There was no sound on the other side for a while. Probably she was really so angry that she couldn't say a word. Speak, are you dead? Lu Feng asked harshly. Dead? It was with great difficulty that my sister coldly uttered these 2 words. What nonsense are you talking about? I said Shenqing is dead. My sister said each word slowly. Congratulations, Lu Feng. She will never be jealous of Lin Wan again. At this moment, Lu Feng seemed to realize that it was my sister answering the phone. A trace of panic flashed in his eyes. And the next moment he said sarcastically, what kind of trick is Shenqing playing now? What, does she think I'll regret it just because she's pretending to be dead? You tell her that either she comes back obediently, or she really stays dead outside. She's dead. I said Shenqing is dead. My sister suddenly broke down and shouted at Lu Feng. She doesn't need you to regret it either, because you're heartless. Enough, Shenhe. I don't want to waste words with you. You don't need to interfere in my business with Shenqing. Give the phone to Shenqing. My sister hung up Lu Feng's phone directly. I saw that Lu Feng was so angry that the veins on his face popped out. Over the years, he had never been at a disadvantage when it came to my matters. In our quarrels, It was always me who compromised in the end. Suppressing his anger, he called me again. He said, "Ask Shinqing where the watch I gave her for repair is now. I need it urgently." "I don't know." My sister said coldly. "I asked you to ask Shinqing." "Lu Feng, you really deserve to be struck by lightning," my sister said through gritted teeth. She knew all about me and Lu Feng, so she knew how good I had been to Lu Feng. It was precisely because of Lu Feng's current actions that she hated him so much. In the end, you only care about the watch Lin Wanwan gave you. To you, a watch is more important than Shinqing's life, isn't it? There seemed to be a hint of choking in my sister's voice, feeling it was unfair for me. Before Lu Feng could speak, my sister said angrily again, "Shinqing is really dead, believe it or not, it's up to you. I won't answer your calls anymore. You'll dirty the path of Shinqing's reincarnation." 3. Lu Feng was hung up on by my sister again. All I could see on his face was anger. There was not the slightest bit of worry because my sister said I was dead. He should still be wondering where I had hidden the watch that Lin Wanwan gave him. To him, the things given to him by Lin Wanwan were, of course, more important than my life. I still remember that at the moment of my car accident, I used my last bit of strength to call him, and he hung up on me without hesitation. At that time, he should have been thinking about how to celebrate Lin Wanwan's birthday. How ridiculous. I even began to wonder how I had managed to persevere all those years, but fortunately, I don't know if people really have no heart after death or if I have no feelings for Lu Feng anymore. Even if Lu Feng is being extremely heartless now, I don't seem to feel the pain in my heart. I just floated in midair and watched him indifferently. I watched as he gradually changed from being irritable to calm. After calming down, he became very dull, standing still in the same place without any reaction for a long time. I don't know what he's thinking, and I have no expectations of him. Suddenly, his phone rang. It was Lin Wanwan calling. They had made an appointment to go hiking in the suburbs today. The moment Lu Feng saw Lin Wanwan's call, the expression on his face obviously softened, and a faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. I also smiled. That's right. If there are no expectations, there will be no disappointments. Wanwan, his voice was gentle. In the past 6 months, I had heard so many conversations between him and Lin Wanwan that I almost forgot how cold he used to be to me. "Feng, have you gone out yet? I prepared everything and am waiting for you at home," Lin Wanwan said coquettishly. "I'll go out right away. It'll take about 20 minutes. Drive carefully on the way," Lin Wanwan sweetly reminded. "Okay." Lu Feng hung up the phone and turned around to enter the cloakroom. He was looking for clothes in the closet. After looking for a while, it seemed that he couldn't find the set he wanted. He walked out of the room and shouted downstairs, "Aunt Wu, where's my Gucci sportswear?" The maid, Aunt Wu, heard the voice and quickly went upstairs. "Sir, I've already put all your clothes in the closet." "Which set are you talking about?" Lu Feng said impatiently. "The brown one with 2 stripes on both sides and many English logos on it." Aunt Wu didn't quite understand. She walked into the cloakroom and looked for it for Lu Feng. "Is this the set, sir?" "No," Lu Feng said angrily. "I've already looked for it just now. It's not here. In fact, the set of clothes was at the bottom of the closet. He just didn't have the patience to look for it properly. He would never waste his time on insignificant things or people, just like his attitude towards me in the past." "Then I don't know. You're my maid, responsible for my daily life. You can't even find my clothes." Lu Feng raised his voice. Lu Feng's temper was obviously worse than usual today. Was he really in such a hurry to see Lin Wanwan? And Wu was also a bit embarrassed by what Lu Feng said. It took her a while to muster up the courage to say, "In the past, your wife was in charge of taking care of your clothes. She said you were particular about your clothes and was afraid that I couldn't do it well. Why don't you just ask your wife directly?" "No need to ask her. Why should I ask her?" Lu Feng refused immediately and said harshly, "She'd better have the ability to never come back for the rest of her life." So in Lu Feng's mind, my death was just me playing tricks. He didn't believe that I was really dead at all. He thought that I was still using this way to wait for him to coax me. Lu Feng was so angry that he casually found a set of sportswear, picked up the car keys, and quickly went out. He picked up Lin Wanwan and they went to the suburbs together. They went hiking together and talked and laughed along the way. Whether I'm dead or not has no impact on him at all. Halfway up the mountain, Lin Wanwan suddenly acted coquettishly and refused to go any further. "Feng, what's wrong with you today? Why are you walking so fast? I can't catch up with you." Lu Feng stopped and turned to look at her. "I want to take a rest for a while, then let's sit for a while." Lu Feng naturally took out a napkin, wiped the steps for Lin Wanwan, and let her sit on it, but he himself stood on the railing beside, looking at the scenery halfway up the mountain. Feng, what's wrong with you today? I feel like you have something on your mind. Lin Wanwan looked at him. You can tell me anything, and I'll share it with you. Nothing, Lu Feng replied. Maybe I've been under a bit of work pressure recently. I knew you were under a lot of work pressure, so I wanted to take you out for a walk and relax properly, Lin Wanwan said proudly, with a look of expectation on her face as if waiting for Lu Feng to praise her. Surprisingly, Lu Feng remained silent. Lin Wanwan's face showed a hint of displeasure, but she quickly hid it. After resting for a while, Lu Feng urged, it's getting late, let's go. I can't walk anymore. Can you carry me on your back? Lin Wanwan said coquettishly and deliberately added, I only weigh over 90 pounds. I should be much lighter than Shen Qing. Right, I was indeed much heavier than Lin Wanwan, but I used to be very thin. Later, in order to prepare for pregnancy, I forced myself to gain more than 20 pounds. I finally managed to get pregnant, but Lu Feng didn't care at all. He should have even disliked me for my fat body. Why mention her? Lu Feng's face suddenly changed. Lin Wanwan was slightly taken aback, probably because Lu Feng had never spoken to her so loudly before. Sorry. Lin Wanwan quickly apologized timidly. I didn't know. Did you two have another fight? No. Lu Feng said perfunctorily, if you can't walk, let's go down the mountain. But, we're only halfway there. Coincidentally, I still have some work to deal with this afternoon. Let's go back early. Lu Feng left a word and took the lead in walking away. I saw that Lin Wanwan's face turned extremely terrible looking. She gritted her teeth but still followed Lu Feng's steps. After going down the mountain, Lin Wanwan sat in the passenger seat of Lu Feng's car. She took the initiative to say, Feng, let's have lunch together. I'm in a hurry to go back to work, so we won't have lunch together. It doesn't taste good when I eat alone. Lin Wanwan looked at him eagerly. Will you have lunch with me? I promise I'll go home obediently after eating and won't disturb your work. After all, Lu Feng couldn't refuse Lin Wanwan and agreed. Lin Wanwan showed a triumphant smile. I have to admit that Lin Wanwan really has the capital to be proud in front of Lu Feng. The car arrived at the restaurant that Lin Wanwan liked. When getting out of the car, Lu Feng rubbed his stomach. Lin Wanwan obviously noticed it and quickly asked with concern, what's wrong? Does your stomach hurt? Lu Feng nodded, then opened the glove box and casually took out the medicine box inside. When he opened it, he found that there were no stomach medicines left. 5. Lu Feng has a habit of having stomachaches. In the past few years, because his family had encountered some changes and almost went bankrupt, in order to make a comeback, he worked day and night without eating or sleeping properly. Over time, he developed a stomach problem. Later, after I was with him, I often cooked porridge and brought meals to him. His stomach condition improved a lot under my care, but it couldn't withstand the occasional recurrence of the stomach problem due to social engagements. In order to prevent him from suffering too much from the stomachache, I would prepare stomach medicine in advance and put it in the car for him. I would often check the situation of his stomach medicine and replenish it for him as soon as it ran out. Logically, Lu Feng shouldn't have finished the stomach medicine so quickly. After thinking carefully, in the past 6 months when I wasn't around, no one reminded him to eat, and even less did anyone bring him meals. He often didn't eat on time. So it served him right that his stomach problem recurred frequently. Let me rub it for you. Lin Wanwan took the initiative to get closer to Lu Feng and put her hand on his stomach. It'll be better after rubbing. Lu Feng was taken aback for a moment and then pushed Lin Wanwan away. No need, I should just be hungry. It'll be fine after eating. Then let's go have a meal, Lin Wanwan said with a smile as if nothing had happened. Lu Feng pursed his lips, and the two of them got out of the car together. Sitting at the dining table, Lin Wanwan kept ordering food from the waiter and occasionally asked Lu Feng a few questions. Lu Feng's face turned pale from the stomachache, but he has always been stubborn and wouldn't expose his weaknesses. Moreover, in front of his childhood sweetheart, he wanted to maintain his image as a male god. Looking at him like this, I somehow felt a bit happy. It would be best if he died of the pain. After Lin Wanwan finished ordering the dishes, she didn't notice that Lu Feng's face looked wrong and was still chatting and laughing with him. Lu Feng, I ordered the boiled sliced pork and hot sauce that you like the most. You should eat more later. I saw that Lu Feng's face finally changed a bit. How could someone with a stomachache eat such spicy food? Lin Wanwan really didn't pay the slightest attention to Lu Feng's health at all. I remember that I used to be someone who couldn't live without spicy food. In order to help Lu Feng nourish his stomach, I forced myself to eat a light diet for a whole year. I suddenly seemed to understand. Only those who are favored can be fearless, and all these years, I was just being foolishly infatuated. The dishes were served on the table. Lu Feng didn't eat much. Lin Wanwan looked a bit wronged. Feng, don't you like the dishes I ordered for you? Why are you eating so little? I have a bad stomach and can't eat spicy food, Lu Feng said directly. Ah, I didn't know that. What should I do? I'm sorry, Feng, I'm sorry. Lin Wanwan looked guilty as if she had made a mistake, with tears in her eyes, making her look pitiful. Lu Feng couldn't bear to see Lin Wanwan being sad the most. You know, at the slightest sound of thunder and lightning, if Lin Wanwan let out a whimper on the other end of the phone, Lu Feng would drive through the rain at night to accompany her. At this moment, I'm afraid he would even eat the boiled sliced pork and hot sauce that Lin Wanwan ordered for him to comfort her, even if it might kill him from the stomachache. But in the end, Lu Feng just said indifferently, "It's nothing, I don't have an appetite for anything now, you eat slowly, I'm going back to the company first." Before Lin Wanwan could react, Lu Feng had already paid the bill and left. When he got back into his car and started the engine to leave, he suddenly looked back at the empty stomach medicine box. The next moment, he stepped on the gas pedal and drove away. 6. He didn't go back to the company but went straight home. So is he still a bit angry that Lin Wanwan doesn't care about his health? Of course, it's also because you care about someone that you would feel this way. After all, when I was in poor health before, Lu Feng ignored me. And I would also be very angry. I just got used to it later. Sir, you're back, have you had lunch? Aunt Wu quickly stepped forward to greet him. I'm not eating, Lu Feng said with a cold face. How can you not eat? Madam said you have a stomach problem, and you'll get a stomachache if you don't eat. Aunt Wu said with concern, let me cook some porridge for you. If you don't have an appetite, it's still good to eat some porridge. Lu Feng paused for a moment and finally didn't refuse. Half an hour later, Aunt Wu brought the cooked porridge to Lu Feng. During this time, Lu Feng had been sitting on the sofa watching TV, but he kept pressing the remote control, looking very absent-minded. Sir, be careful, it's hot. Okay, Lu Feng replied, then picked up the spoon and slowly took a bite. How does it taste, sir? Aunt Wu asked. Lu Feng swallowed the porridge and said indifferently, it tastes very similar to the porridge Shinqing cooked. Madam taught me how to make it, Aunt Wu quickly said. Madam said that in case she wasn't at home for some reason, I should cook porridge for you, so she taught me how to make it. Madam said that since you have a bad stomach, the porridge must be cooked thick, sticky, and soft. Madam also said that you're picky about food, sir, you don't like eating green vegetables but like broccoli, so every time I cook vegetable porridge, I use broccoli instead. Madam is really attentive to you, sir, she always remembers every one of your preferences. Aunt Wu said a lot, and I couldn't stand listening anymore. It's not that Aunt Wu was lying, it's precisely because it was all true that I felt that all these things were a disgrace. Being good to Lu Feng was the most regretful thing I've ever done in my life. Sir, please bring Madam back. Madam is really the person in this world who loves you the most and treats you the best. Aunt Wu couldn't help but say. Lu Feng seemed to pause. I thought he would refuse immediately as he did before. At that moment, he remained silent. After Lu Feng finished the porridge, he went back to his room and lay on the bed. Judging from his face, his stomachache should have been relieved a lot. His phone kept ringing with messages. They were from Lin Wanwan. Sorry, Feng, it's my fault. I didn't notice your physical condition. Are you feeling better now? Do you want to go to the hospital? I'll go with you. Feng, I didn't even know you had a stomach problem. You didn't have it before. I always thought Shinqing would take good care of you. Are you angry, Feng? Why don't you reply to my messages? I'm scared. After reading the messages, Lu Feng suddenly got up from the bed and quickly left the room. Looking at his anxious appearance, I couldn't help but find it ridiculous. How could I have deceived myself into thinking that Lu Feng's care for Lin Wanwan was just out of friendship? I thought that because Lin Wanwan didn't have many friends and her parents were also very cold to her, Lu Feng was just showing his excessive sympathy. Now it seems that I was really a joke. I watched as he drove like crazy to find Lin Wanwan. How could you let the person you like suffer even a little bit of grievance? I had already thought about how Lu Feng would comfort and coax Lin Wanwan when he saw her. Maybe when the emotions were right, the two of them would really get together. In the past 6 months, nothing substantial had really happened between them. Probably they were afraid that having an affair during marriage would have a bad impact on Lin Wanwan's reputation, so they stuck to the bottom line. I watched as Lu Feng parked the car, rushed into the elevator, and pressed the floor number. He walked up to the front door and eagerly pressed the doorbell. The door opened. I was really taken aback, because the person who opened the door was my sister, Shenhe, 7. At this moment, I noticed that this wasn't Lin Wanwan's home, it was my sister's home. The moment my sister saw Lu Feng, she was about to close the door without saying a word. Lu Feng was quick-eyed and quick-handed. He grabbed the door, and his hand was caught by the door my sister was closing. Lu Feng endured the intense pain. My sister also held back for a moment and asked coldly, "What are you doing here? You're not welcome here." "I'm here to find Shenqing." Lu Feng's voice was a bit dark and suppressed because of the pain. "Didn't I make it clear on the phone? Shenqing is dead. If you really want to find her, then go die. You'll be able to see her if you're dead," my sister said viciously. "Enough, Shenhe. It's none of your business in our husband and wife affairs." Lu Feng was embarrassed by my sister's scolding but still didn't believe that I was dead. "Then what are you doing here looking for me? Get out of here. How dare you call yourselves husband and wife? Have you ever fulfilled your responsibility as a husband? Get out of here quickly. I feel disgusted." Lu Feng wasn't someone who was good at speaking. When we used to quarrel, I also suffered from his cold violence. At this moment, being insulted like this by my sister, even though he was extremely angry, he just held his anger in. "If you don't leave, I'll call the police," my sister threatened. "I admit I was wrong," Lu Feng suddenly said. I was shocked. My sister was also shocked. Over all these years, when had Lu Feng ever thought he was wrong? Even if I cried my heart out, he still thought I was being unreasonable. "Let me see Shenqing. I want to talk to her properly," Lu Feng said calmly. "Talk." My sister smiled sarcastically. At that moment, her eyes were really red. After all, I was already dead. "Talk to a ghost," my sister said. "Lu Feng, do you think you've been worthy of Shenqing in the past few years?" "I have a clear conscience," Lu Feng said righteously. "You're so entangled with Lin Wanwan, and you still have a clear conscience." My sister couldn't control herself anymore and lost her temper. "Lin Wanwan and I are innocent." "Innocent? What exactly is considered innocent? Do you really have to sleep in the same bed to be considered not innocent?" My sister shouted at Lu Feng. "When Shenqing was sick, you were by Lin Wanwan's side, showing her concern. When it was Shenqing's birthday, you went to find Lin Wanwan without hesitation at her call. When Shenqing was pregnant, you chose to go to celebrate Lin Wanwan's birthday. When Shenqing was jealous because of Lin Wanwan, you even blamed her for not being generous enough and being overly jealous." My sister became more and more broken down as she spoke. "Lu Feng, do you really think you're a qualified husband? How dare you say you have a clear conscience towards Shenqing?" Before Lu Feng could defend himself, my sister said excitedly again, "Don't forget that when you had nothing, it was Shenqing who accompanied you through the darkest days of your life, not Lin Wanwan. In the end, what did you give Shenqing? And what did you give Lin Wanwan?" "I gave Shenqing a home." "A home?" My sister smiled even more sarcastically. "What kind of home is it? A home without a husband? A husband who is always by the side of other women is scarier than being a widow. Have you said enough?" Lu Feng became angry out of embarrassment. "I admit that Shenqing did accompany me through difficult times, but Lin Wanwan has also been good to me. When I was in the worst financial situation, it was Lin Wanwan who sold her car and house to fill the gap for me. I'm grateful to her. Is there anything wrong with that?" "What did you say?" my sister asked in surprise. 8. Not only was my sister surprised, but I was also surprised. When did Lin Wanwan sell her car and house for him and provide him with funds to fill the gap? I couldn't help but start to recall the bits and pieces of my past with Lu Feng. I don't know if people will forget things after they die. I have gradually forgotten a lot of things from my life before. I only vaguely remember that I met Lu Feng when I just graduated from university and started working at Lu's group. At that time, Lu Feng had just joined the company too. His parents asked him to start from the grassroots level to train him. I thought he was just an ordinary employee like the rest of us. As new employees, he had a calmness and composure different from the rest of us, and his ability was outstanding. He was also tall and handsome. We were assigned to the same team, and we completed a lot of work together. As time passed, I began to have some budding feelings. But what made me realize that I really liked him was that day when he gave me a ride home after we finished working overtime. As soon as I got out of the car, I was pulled by my alcoholic uncle, who demanded money from me and threatened to beat me to death if I didn't give it to him. My parents died very early in an accident at the factory. Before they died, my uncle was very young. And since my grandparents had also passed away early, my mother almost took care of my uncle. After my mother died, my uncle was left with no one to rely on, and he would come to me and my sister whenever he needed money. Before, we would give him some relief, but later he became more and more excessive, and my sister and I couldn't afford to support him anymore, so we ignored him. He pestered us. In order to get rid of him, my sister and I were forced to move. Unexpectedly, he still found us. That night, Lu Feng forcefully rescued me from my uncle. If you dare to touch Shenqing, I'll beat you to death. Mind your own business about our family's affairs. My uncle tried to push Lu Feng away, but Lu Feng pushed him to the ground. Shenqing's affairs are my affairs, and I'll take care of them to the end, Lu Feng said firmly, and he really did what he said. After that, he sent me home every day to prevent my uncle from harassing me. My uncle really didn't dare to come to find me and my sister after some time. At that time, Lu Feng really seemed like a heroic figure. My heart suddenly ached. It turned out that people who are dead can still feel pain. It's just that I don't care anymore. After Lu Feng helped me get rid of my uncle, I thought about confessing my feelings to him, but I suddenly learned that Lu Feng was actually the eldest son of Lu's group. The sense of inferiority caused by the disparity in our status made me bury this feeling in my heart. Later, due to the failed investment decision made by the leadership of Lu's group, the company was on the verge of bankruptcy. Many people left Lu's group, but I resolutely chose to stay by Lu Feng's side. Secretly, I was even glad that this was the closest I could be to Lu Feng. I accompanied Lu Feng to social events. In order to block the wine for him, I drank so much that I had a gastric hemorrhage and was sent to the hospital. I accompanied him to work overtime every day. Staying up all night was a common occurrence. During his most difficult 2 years, my weight didn't even reach 90 pounds although I was 163 centimeters tall. In his most crucial battle, I transferred all the 1.5 million yuan of compensation left by my parents' accidental death, including my sister's share, to his account. My sister didn't agree at first, but later she couldn't resist my unwavering love for Lu Feng and finally gave me the money. Of course, I paid her back double later. After the money arrived, Lu Feng led the company back on track. He hugged me and cheered. That night, we celebrated together. Under the influence of alcohol, both of us couldn't help ourselves, and then we naturally became boyfriend and girlfriend. I always thought he knew that I was the one who transferred the money. He dated me and then married me. I thought it was because he knew all my efforts and was moved by them. So I never deliberately mentioned that 1.5 million yuan, but now, Lu Feng suddenly said that the money he was desperately in need of was given by Lin Wanwan. 9. You said that Lin Wanwan sold her car and house to fill the gap for you. My sister confirmed again, so why shouldn't I be good to her? She even turned against her family to help me, Lu Feng said angrily. Don't I owe her for such kindness? It's Shenqing who has always not understood me and made a big deal out of everything. Heh. My sister laughed. It was really a smile like looking at an idiot. She said, is that what Lin Wanwan told you, that she was ostracized by everyone for you? Lu Feng could also see the sarcasm in my sister's words. You don't need to act like this. Shenqing isn't the only good person in the world. Why do you look down on others so much? I look down on Lin Wanwan. Yes, I just look down on such a scheming woman like her. But compared to her, I look down on you even more, my sister said harshly, leaving other things aside. Did you ever tell Shenqing about the things Lin Wanwan did for you? Did Shenqing know that you were repaying Lin Wanwan's kindness? Lu Feng suddenly fell silent. He really had never told me. I didn't know either. If he had made it clear earlier, I would have known that he mistook that 1.5 million yuan as given by Lin Wanwan. Perhaps it wasn't that important either. Lu Feng was just finding a reasonable excuse for himself to be good to Lin Wanwan. Without that 1.5 million yuan, there could be many other reasons. Is Shenqing a worm in your stomach? Can she know what you're thinking? All she saw was that her husband was wholeheartedly being nice to another woman. My sister roared. What's more, when she was jealous, her husband even blamed her for being unreasonable. I told her that there was nothing between us, Lu Feng retorted feebly. There are so many cheating men in the world, and each of them says they haven't been unfaithful, but what's the result? My sister retorted to Lu Feng and then broke down. The result is that Shenqing still believed you, and she kept believing you all the time. If she believed me, she wouldn't have quarreled with me like this. If she didn't believe you, why didn't she divorce you? Why did she still work so hard and try so desperately to get pregnant with your child? Lu Feng looked at my sister, probably stunned by her overly excited emotions. Do you know how badly Shenqing's body was damaged when she accompanied you to start your business? The doctor said that if she wanted to get pregnant, she had to gain weight like crazy. Everyone thinks it's difficult to lose weight, but in fact, it's the hardest for people who can't gain weight to put on weight. You have no idea how much suffering Shenqing endured for you. Lu Feng pursed his lips tightly and suddenly fell silent. Yes. I really suffered a lot in order to get pregnant back then. I wasn't someone who particularly liked eating meat, but I ate until I vomited in order to gain weight, and then I ate again after vomiting. Forget it, it's useless to say more to someone like you. My sister suddenly didn't want to talk anymore. She was afraid that if she continued, she herself wouldn't be able to stand it first. Now that Shenqing is gone, you can live a good life with your benefactor Lin Wanwan. Give me a chance. Lu Feng suddenly grabbed my sister, his eyes sincere. I want to talk to Shenqing again. My sister hesitated for a moment. I could tell that she really didn't want to pay attention to Lu Feng anymore, but finally, she suddenly agreed. Wait for me for a while, okay? My sister turned around and went back to the room, changing into an outfit for going out. Isn't Shenqing inside? Lu Feng asked my sister. My sister didn't answer him and walked straight into the elevator. Lu Feng still followed behind my sister. 10. My sister parked the car in the suburbs. Lu Feng got out of the car angrily and questioned my sister. What are you doing bringing me here? Even if I did have some shortcomings in how I treated Shenqing, it doesn't mean you can play tricks on me like this. My sister rarely even bothered to reply. She turned around and walked directly into a small path. I knew that this was the place where my sister buried me, and my parents were also buried here. I saw Lu Feng following my sister angrily. I thought that with his personality, he would turn around and leave. My sister's footsteps stopped in front of a tomb. Fortunately, once during the spring festival, Lu Feng took time out of his busy schedule to accompany me to offer sacrifices to my parents, so he should remember this place. Why did you bring me to your parents' gravesite? Lu Feng didn't finish his sentence. Because he saw my tombstone. My name was written on the tombstone. There was also a black and white photo of me when I was alive on it. He was like suddenly turned to stone, staring closely at my tombstone, as if he couldn't believe what he saw. He was confirming over and over again whether it was really my name on the tombstone, whether I was really dead or not. I saw that his eyes suddenly seemed to turn red, unexpectedly. They turned red rather scarily. I was very indifferent. My sister was also very indifferent. Crocodile tears were never worthy of sympathy. I don't believe it, Lu Feng suddenly said firmly. Did Shenqing deliberately play tricks on me? Did you deliberately use this method to take revenge on me? How could a perfectly healthy person die just like that? Who would curse themselves like this? Lu Feng, don't you know what kind of person Shenqing is? She has been afraid of causing trouble to others since she was a child. Could she play a prank? What's more, even if she's dead, she can't take revenge on you, right? But why did she die? Lu Feng still didn't believe it. Why? My sister sneered, probably thinking of the tragic scene when I died. Tears flowed down uncontrollably. Half a year ago, weren't you going to celebrate Lin Wanwan's birthday? Shenqing had a car accident when she went out that day. No, it can't be. Lu Feng shook his head. His emotions were on the verge of collapsing little by little. I didn't receive the news. I didn't receive the news of her car accident, Lu Feng said loudly, because you didn't answer her call. My sister was also angry. In the end, she called me. She said she was going to die, and she told me not to be sad and not to bother you. My sister covered her face. The painful memories made her sob uncontrollably. Lu Feng became completely stunned. He looked at my tomb and then at my sister's breakdown. I saw his body trembling uncontrollably. Was it fear of the dead, or was it that he was also a little bit sad because of my death? Until the moment Shenqing died, she was still thinking of you. She was afraid of affecting your life. But what were you doing? You were singing the birthday song with Lin Wanwan, my sister said while crying. She really felt it was unfair for me, very unfair. Actually, I wasn't that great, perhaps before. I did sacrifice a lot for Lu Feng without any complaints or regrets, but the last call I made to my sister wasn't because I was afraid of affecting him. I really didn't want to have any more involvement with him. With a bang sound, I saw Lu Feng kneeling straight in front of my tombstone. The hard floor made a huge noise. My sister looked up at Lu Feng, looking at his heartbroken appearance. There was only sarcasm in her eyes. Who are you showing this look to? The person is already dead. And Shenqing can't see it anymore. I could see it, but I didn't feel anything at all. I even found Lu Feng's current appearance very annoying. I always felt that the reason I couldn't be reincarnated was that he had always been blocking my way. 11. Suddenly, Lu Feng started kowtowing frantically in front of my tomb. There were loud sounds one after another, and he knocked his head until it bled. My sister watched his actions coldly. I was also a bit annoyed. If he wanted to die, he could do it far away and not disturb my peace. My sister never went to stop him. As a soul, there was nothing I could do either. I don't know how much time passed. Lu Feng suddenly stopped. The moment he stopped, his body curled up into a ball, and then there came a suppressed crying sound. Now he knows his head hurts. He deserves it. Lu Feng, I originally wanted to follow Shen Qing's will and never bother you again, but since you want to atone for your sins, I'll tell you the truth. My sister took out my phone. This is Shen Qing's phone. The notes on it record every bit of what happened between you two, and what your beloved childhood sweetheart, Lin Wanwan, did to Shen Qing. Lu Feng turned his head woodenly to look at my sister. His eyes were blood red. This was an appearance I had never seen before. My body twisted and floated in front of my sister, really wanting to stop my sister's actions. I didn't want to give my phone to Lu Feng. It wasn't that I was afraid he wouldn't feel guilty enough, I just didn't care about his regret. To me, this person was as good as dead. Oh, no, the one who was dead was me. But still, everything he did to me now, I thought it was all unimportant. I saw Lu Feng tremblingly take the phone and then hold it tightly in his hand, so hard that his knuckles turned white. The password is your birthday, my sister said again. Lu Feng's body froze. The next moment, he started shaking even more violently. The redness in his eyes became more and more obvious. My sister got up and left. As far as my sister was concerned, she had done everything she could for Lu Feng, and the reason she could go this far was probably that she knew too well how much I had loved Lu Feng. She didn't want my love to disappear without a trace. In the desolate mountains, the wind was very strong. Even my soul was blown apart and was shivering. Lu Feng knelt in front of my grave for a long time, a really long time. Finally, he picked up my phone. He pressed the password, which was his birthday. The screen opened, and the desktop was our wedding photo. Lu Feng's Adam's apple kept rolling. Slowly, he opened my notes. I had the habit of keeping a diary. I used to write it in a notebook, and later, with the progress of technology, I wrote it on my phone. I had used this phone for 5 years. I was a nostalgic person, and I had been like this since I was a child. Otherwise, I wouldn't have wholeheartedly loved Lu Feng for so many years. 12. On month day, 2018, I bought a new phone and spent a large sum of money to get the same model as Lu Feng's. Today is really a wonderful day. On month day, 2018, Lu's group is on the verge of bankruptcy, and everyone is leaving. I won't leave. I don't expect to stay by his side for a lifetime, as long as he doesn't push me away. He won't push me away, will he? I really want to confess my love to him. On month day, 2018. Lu Feng praised that the porridge I cooked today was very delicious. I'm so happy. It's worth all the many failures I had before, and I finally succeeded. On month day, 2018, I feel so terrible after being drunk, but when I think that if I drink a little more, Lu Feng can drink a little less, I don't feel so bad anymore. On month day, 2018, the company has a funding gap of 1.5 million yuan. I accompanied Lu Feng to many banks, but the banks wouldn't lend us money. Seeing Lu Feng's anxious appearance, I couldn't help but finally ask my sister and wanted to take the inheritance left by our parents. That inheritance was left to my sister and me by our parents with their lives, and I know it's of great significance, but my sister is the best person to me in the world, and she still gave me the money. I promise that when I become successful in the future, I will definitely treat my sister even better. On month day, 2019, Lu Feng finally won the project, and Lu's group finally got back on track. Lu Feng took me to celebrate together, and we drank a lot of wine. He said he was very grateful to me for always staying by his side and for all my efforts for him. We got together. I think I'm the happiest woman in the world. On month day, 2019, I met Lu Feng's childhood sweetheart, Lin Wanwan. Today, she is really beautiful, fair, and gentle. What should I do? I seem to be a little jealous of her. I think Lu Feng is being a bit too nice to her. On month day, 2019, Lu Feng suddenly brought up the matter of getting married. I was actually a bit flattered. He said his parents were urging him, and we had been dating for a year. I thought about it and agreed without much consideration. Anyway, In this life, except for him, I never thought of marrying anyone else. On month day, 2020. On our wedding night, Lu Feng went to Lin Wanwan's place. He said that there was a power outage at Lin Wanwan's house and she was afraid of the dark. He would come back when the power was restored, but that night, he didn't come back at all. I also received a WeChat message and photos sent by Lin Wanwan. She said, "Borrow your husband for one night, I'll return him to you tomorrow." The tone was clearly showing off. On month day, 2020, Lu Feng spent more and more time with Lin Wanwan. He would go whenever Lin Wanwan called him for anything. I complained to him, but he said I was thinking too much. He said that if he and Lin Wanwan wanted to be together, they would have been together long ago and it was impossible to wait until now. Although I was very angry, I really believed him. I believed that he wouldn't betray me. On month day, 2021, I thought I could keep tolerating Lu Feng. I could also deceive myself and comfort myself every time Lu Feng left, saying that he was just going to meet an ordinary friend. Everyone has their own social circle, but Lin Wanwan kept sending me photos of her and Lu Feng. She said, "Shenqing, don't mind, Lu Feng and I have been like this since we were children. There's nothing between us." What kind of confession without being questioned is this? Is it a provocation? On month day, 2022, I don't want to write anymore. The original intention of my diary was to record happy things. But now it seems that it's all negative emotions. I can't stand the relationship between Lu Feng and Lin Wanwan more and more. I don't know how long I can hold on. I'm almost at my limit. On month day, 2022, I'm finally pregnant. I stared at the ultrasound report in silence for a long time. Was I happy, or anxious? I had actually been looking forward to this child for a long time. Since I got married to Lu Feng, I had wanted a crystallization of our love. But the doctor said I was too thin to get pregnant, so I turned my sadness into an appetite. I vented all my dissatisfaction with Lu Feng and Lin Wanwan on eating. Hard work pays off. After more than 2 years of effort, I finally got a good result, but at this moment, I wasn't as happy as I thought I would be. I didn't even know if Lu Feng would be happy. I had said many times that I wanted a child, but his reaction was always very indifferent. Would he dislike this child because of Lin Wanwan? Would he distance himself from Lin Wanwan because of the child? Could we return to an ordinary and happy family because of this child? 13. My notes ended on that day. After all, I died after that day. I watched as big tears fell from Lu Feng's eyes onto the screen of my phone. Was it guilt? Was it regret? But what's the use? I really didn't feel anything at all. "Sorry," Lu Feng suddenly said. His voice was extremely hoarse. "Go away." I tried my best, but I still couldn't shout out. I really wanted to tell him not to be so hypocritical. I not only have no feelings for you anymore, but I also never thought of forgiving you. I didn't know you were pregnant. If I had known, that day, Lu Feng couldn't go on. Probably he himself didn't know whether he would still go to see Lin Wanwan even if he knew I was pregnant. After all, how important Lin Wanwan was. Lu Feng covered his chest in pain. Probably his stomachache flared up again. He curled up and fell in front of my grave. It was getting darker and darker. Lu Feng's phone suddenly rang. His body moved a bit. If he hadn't moved, I would have thought he was dead too. He took out his phone. It was Lin Wanwan calling. He answered it. "Hello, Feng, where are you? I think I'm being followed. I'm at home and I'm too scared to go out. Can you come to my house? I'm so afraid." Lin Wanwan's crying voice came from the other end. "Okay," Lu Feng agreed immediately. I really laughed again. Under the evening breeze, I laughed most extravagantly. Was this his confession? It was truly deeply touching. I watched as Lu Feng stood up from the ground. His stomach didn't seem to hurt anymore, and he became completely calm. He drove directly to Lin Wanwan's house. The door opened. Lin Wanwan showed her innocent and lovely smile. "Feng, you're finally here." I was scared to death. As she spoke, she deliberately nestled into Lu Feng's arms. Lu Feng pushed her away. "I didn't see anyone around your house. Is that so? Maybe they left because I didn't come out." Lin Wanwan made up an excuse casually. Anyway, no matter how lame the reason was, Lu Feng would believe it. "Feng, come here. I cooked porridge for you. Weren't you having a stomachache? I heard that porridge can nourish the stomach," Lin Wanwan said, flattering. Lu Feng was pulled by Lin Wanwan's coquetry and sat at the dining table in her house. Then she served a bowl of porridge. "Try it." "I cooked it myself," Lin Wanwan said with anticipation on her face. Suddenly, her eyes paused. "Feng, what's wrong with your forehead? Why is it swollen and bleeding? Did you just notice?" Lu Feng asked sarcastically. the light was too dim just now. What exactly happened to you? Lin Wanwan asked with eagerness and concern. It's nothing. He picked up the bowl of porridge in front of him and took a bite. After eating it, there was no trace of emotional fluctuation on his face. And it was impossible to tell what the porridge tasted like. Is it delicious? Lin Wanwan asked expectantly. Have you tried it? Lu Feng asked her. No, I just wanted you to have it, Lin Wanwan said coquettishly. Is that so? Lu Feng put down his chopsticks and there was a sarcastic smile on his lips again. Isn't it good? Lin Wanwan also seemed to notice that Lu Feng was acting strange today. Lin Wanwan quickly took a bite herself. As soon as she ate it, she almost vomited, with a bitter face. She said, I'm so stupid, I put monosodium glutamate instead of salt, I can't cook at all, I'm all thumbs. Who can cook right from the start? Lu Feng asked Lin Wanwan, as if asking himself, are you angry? The porridge Shenqing cooked was always just right, Lu Feng said, muttering to himself, she should have tasted it again and again before giving it to me. 14. When Lin Wanwan heard Lu Feng mention me, her face clearly turned sour. Feng, what's wrong with you today? I feel like you're acting strange. You never used to compare me with Shenqing before. You know I've never suffered since I was a child. How can I be like Shenqing? She doesn't even have parents, Lin Wanwan said very aggrievedly, but Lu Feng looked at her with increasingly unfamiliar eyes. Yes. Shenqing didn't have parents, but I never cherished her properly. Feng, what's wrong with you? Did you quarrel with Shenqing today? Did Shenqing threaten you? Lin Wanwan said angrily. Do you like me? Lu Feng suddenly asked her. Lin Wanwan was taken aback and a bit surprised. She probably didn't expect Lu Feng to ask her such a question suddenly. In the past 6 months, as I followed Lu Feng around, I really didn't hear Lu Feng take the initiative to mention the so-called feelings between them. Now that I'm dead, is he finally deciding to take that step without any scruples? I watched as Lin Wanwan became shy. Blushing, she whispered, Feng, all these years I thought you knew my feelings for you. So you do like me? Lu Feng confirmed. Yes, I've always liked you, otherwise, I wouldn't care so much about you and everything. As soon as I heard you had a stomachache, I learned to cook porridge for you, even though it didn't turn out well. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't have sold my car and house to help you. Because you like me, you tried every means to destroy the relationship between me and Shenqing, right? Lu Feng sneered. I didn't. I've always respected your relationship with Shenqing, so I've never crossed the line, Lin Wanwan said a bit flustered. Did Shenqing deliberately say something to you? Do you start not to believe me? You said you sold your car and house to help me, then do you remember which day you transferred the money to me? Lu Feng questioned. How could I remember something so long ago? How much was the specific amount? More than 1 million yuan, Lin Wanwan's eyes flickered. I gave you all the money at that time. Lin Wanwan let out a frightened scream, because at this moment, Lu Feng suddenly stood up from the chair and grabbed Lin Wanwan's neck. You're still lying to me. Let me go. I didn't lie to you, Lu Feng, let me go. Lin Wanwan's face turned red, and there was only fear in her eyes. The 1.5 million yuan emergency fund I received back then was given to me by Shenqing, Lu Feng said through gritted teeth. His hand gripping Lin Wanwan's neck was exerting more and more force. Let me go. Lin Wanwan was so scared that tears streamed down her face. Her hands fumbled frantically with the things on the dining table. She grabbed the bowl of porridge that Lu Feng had just eaten and without hesitation, smashed the bowl on Lu Feng's head. Lu Feng's body tensed up. Taking the opportunity, Lin Wanwan pushed Lu Feng away with all her strength. There was blood all over Lu Feng's head. Lin Wanwan shrieked. Lu Feng, are you crazy tonight? Lu Feng's eyes were completely red, and there was a murderous look in his eyes. He asked her in a trembling voice. Why did you lie to me? Why? It's because I like you that I did this. Lin Wanwan admitted the truth. Probably she also knew she couldn't deceive anymore. I just went abroad for 2 years, and you got together with Shenqing. Clearly, we were the couple. She didn't deserve you at all. The one who doesn't deserve me is you, Lu Feng said harshly. Why did you go abroad during the 2 most difficult years for me? Were you afraid that I would drag you down? Right, Lin Wanwan couldn't find an excuse to refute for a moment. I watched their argument in the air above, and I just found it ridiculous. After all these years, is Lu Feng, who is so smart, finally willing to see clearly what kind of person Lin Wanwan is? 15. You really deserve to die. The hatred in Lu Feng's eyes became stronger. Don't do anything stupid, Lu Feng. Killing people requires paying with one's life. I'll call the police, I'm going to call the police right away. Lin Wanwan was shaking as she held her phone. Before she could make the call, Lu Feng snatched the phone and threw it on the ground. The next moment, he grabbed Lin Wanwan's neck again, dragged her body to the outdoor balcony, and was about to throw her downstairs. Lin Wanwan desperately clung to the railing and kept screaming, don't kill me, I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have lied to you like this, and I shouldn't have destroyed the relationship between you and Shenqing. Lin Wanwan was really scared, she kept begging for mercy, let me go, Lu Feng, let me go, I'll go and apologize to Shenqing, okay, I'll apologize. Lu Feng's face became even more cruel, Shenqing is already dead, where are you going to apologize? Lin Wanwan was taken aback, she thought she had heard wrongly, Shenqing is dead, Lin Wanwan, Shenqing died because of you, and she's been dead for half a year. Lu Feng roared at her, if you want to apologize to her, go down there and do it. No, I didn't kill her, I didn't harm her. Lin Wanwan was so scared that she cried, you insisted that I accompany you on your birthday that day, when Shenqing left in a fit of anger after arguing with me. She had a car accident and both she and the baby died. Lu Feng said harshly, if it weren't for you, Shenqing wouldn't have died, and Shenqing and my child wouldn't have died together. How can you blame me? You came here of your own accord. It was you who killed Shenqing. What does it have to do with me? Lin Wanwan resisted desperately. Lu Feng pushed her hard. Lin Wanwan's upper body was hanging in the air. She lived on the 16th floor, and if she fell, she would surely die. Yes, I also killed Shenqing, so we'll die together and atone for her. Lu Feng said each word slowly. The strength in his hands was also increasing. I just floated on the balcony and watched them struggling. Was I happy? Not completely. There's always a sense of pleasure in getting revenge. But it's hard to say how happy I was. After all, I'm already dead, and no matter what fate they meet, it can't bring my life back. Just treat it as watching a play. In the end, the play wasn't very satisfying either, because Lin Wanwan's screams attracted the attention of the neighbor next door. The neighbor called the police. At the critical moment, the police pulled both of them down from the balcony. Lin Wanwan was sent to the hospital. Lu Feng was arrested on the charge of intentional injury. Then he was detained in the detention center. His parents came to get him released on bail, but he refused. However, Lin Wanwan came to visit him halfway. When she came, there was still a circle of blue and purple swelling on her neck, which was the mark left by Lu Feng almost strangling her to death. Lu Feng, Shenqing is already dead. Is it worth it for you to let us end up like this because of her? Lin Wanwan asked him. The most unworthy thing for me is that I didn't kill you to be buried with her, Lu Feng said through gritted teeth. Shenqing is such an ordinary woman, she doesn't deserve you at all, but you're even willing to give up your life for her. It's me who doesn't deserve her. I defiled her love for me. The thing I regret the most in my life is that I hurt her because of you. Ha, Lin Wanwan laughed out of anger. I came here today to talk to you properly and then withdraw the lawsuit against you. Since you're so unrepentant, then just stay in jail and eat the prison food. Anyway, for me, besides you as a person, what I care more about is your money. Yes, you're right, I never gave you that money. I lied to you, who asked Shenqing to do good deeds without leaving a name. She deserved to have the credit taken by others. You're also right, I was deliberately trying to sow discord between you and Shenqing. I did send Shenqing the photos of our ambiguous moments from time to time. I thought that within a year or two, Shenqing would be clamoring for a divorce. That silly woman actually endured you for more than 2 years. 16, that's enough. Lin Wanwan, that's enough. Lu Feng suddenly became extremely irritable. He stood up and wanted to strangle Lin Wanwan to death. Lin Wanwan stepped back 2 steps in fright. At this moment, the prison guard also held Lu Feng down firmly. Behave yourself. Just stay in jail slowly. Lin Wanwan didn't bother talking to Lu Feng anymore. She turned around and left without mercy. I watched Lu Feng's embarrassed and desolate appearance and still felt nothing. Once you let go of someone, there really won't be any more emotional turmoil. Later, Lu Feng was sentenced to 3 years in prison on the charge of intentional injury. On the day Lu Feng entered prison, my soul could suddenly leave his side. I started wandering around. I went to see my sister. My sister finally found a good partner. I watched her get married, watched her get pregnant, and watched her gradually get out of the shadow of my death. 3 years passed. My soul was still wandering around, but I became more and more exhausted. That day I saw a person who seemed somewhat familiar, but I couldn't remember who he was no matter how hard I tried. He had a crew cut and came out of the prison. After coming out, he went to my grave. Strange, why did he come here? I watched as he squatted in front of my tombstone. His thin and bony fingers gently stroked the photo on the tombstone. He said, "Shenqing, I'm sorry, Shenqing, is my name Shenqing, I regret it, I really regret it." I saw that there was only pain in his eyes. It seemed as if his heart was being torn apart. "I like you, I've always liked you." Regarding me and Lin Wanwan, I admit that I had feelings for her before, but after getting to know you, I only loved you. I really didn't fail to notice your company that never left me for so many years. All that's left for Lin Wanwan is just gratitude for her help. I thought she did everything she could to help me, so I wanted to be as good to her as possible to make up for my guilt towards her. I also always thought that since I was married to you, I belonged to you, and I didn't need to owe you anything anymore. I even took your kindness to me for granted, after getting used to your unconditional dedication. I forgot that you also have feelings and that you would be sad because of my neglect of you." As he spoke, he started crying, then he covered his chest tightly with his hands. It seemed that the pain was excruciating. After a long time, he said self-deprecatingly, "What's the use of saying all these things now? You're dead, you're already dead, I'll never see you again, Shenqing, I miss you so much, I really miss you." He cried in front of my tombstone for a long time. When he finally left, he said, "I'll come to accompany you soon." I didn't know what he meant, but I still inexplicably followed him. I watched as he drove a car and parked it on a street. A day passed. Suddenly, he stepped on the gas pedal and rushed out. With a bang sound, a woman was directly knocked flying by him. Her body was sent flying several meters away, unrecognizable, and bleeding profusely. His car also crashed hard into the railing beside it, and the entire front of the car was deformed. I was clearly a ghost, but I was still scared when I saw such a terrifying and bloody scene, so without thinking, I turned around and floated away. The moment I left, I heard someone calling me, "Shenqing, is that you, Shenqing? Have you always been by my side?" I was scared. I just felt that the person chasing me behind was very terrifying. As I floated, my consciousness became more and more confused, and my soul became more and more scattered. I knew that I was going to leave this world. Leave forever. At the moment my soul dissipated, in a hospital delivery room, the crying sound of a newborn baby rang out. Extra chapter, I crashed into Lin Wanwan and killed her. Both she and I should atone for our sins to Shenqing. It turns out that dying in a car accident can be so painful. After Shenqing had that car accident back then, how much pain must she have endured to be able to call me? But I, mercilessly, refused to answer. I thought she was going to stop me from going to celebrate Lin Wanwan's birthday again. Finally, I'm dead. I deserve to die 1,000 deaths. My soul left my body. Suddenly, I saw Shenqing. It's her, isn't it? I can't be wrong. For the past 3 years, in my dreams day and night, it's always her shadow. I chased after her figure, but she floated away faster and faster. "Don't go, Shenqing, don't go." I was in a complete panic because I saw her figure becoming more and more transparent. "No. Please don't leave me." I finally caught up with her with great difficulty and reached out my hand, wanting to hold her in my arms, but I just grabbed at the air. Shenqing disappeared in front of me, leaving not even a trace. I went crazy looking for her everywhere. I called her name like a madman. "Shenqing, Shenqing." I kept searching. I searched every corner of the streets and alleys. "Shenqing, don't hide, I was wrong. Please don't hide from me." Okay, later, I saw a little girl. I saw that little girl who looked so much like Shenqing. She had such a bright smile. Her parents loved her so much. Wait a minute, why does the mother of this little girl look so familiar? Do I know her? It seems that I only know Shenqing. Shenqing gradually grew up. She became a graceful and beautiful young woman. So many boys liked her. Finally, she accepted the most outstanding one of them. I watched them fall in love, watched them embrace, watched them kiss, and watched them have a relationship. It turns out, this is what it feels like to watch the person you like be with someone else. This is the feeling of being in such excruciating pain. I'm sorry, Shenqing, I'm sorry. After that, Shenqing got married. She was wearing a wedding dress, and there was a happy smile on her face. I should have blessed her, but my heart really hurt so much. Not long after the wedding, Shenqing got pregnant. Her husband was very happy. He picked her up and spun her around, wishing he could give her the best things in the world. They went for prenatal checkups together, did prenatal education for the baby together, and looked forward to the arrival of the baby together. Shenqing was about to give birth. Her husband was even more nervous than she was. Shenqing was in the delivery room for a long time. My soul couldn't enter that place, and I couldn't accompany her. I even felt that my soul was gradually dissipating bit by bit. I knew that I was going to leave completely. I just wanted to take one more look at Shenqing and her child before I left. The child I once owed Shenqing. I could never repay her for it. Heaven is indeed fair. Someone like me, who is deeply guilty, how can I be worthy of experiencing Shenqing's happiness? In the end, I didn't see Shenqing again, nor did I see her child. I just felt a powerful force pull me violently. I suddenly opened my eyes. In front of me were my old parents, once vigorous. They now had white hair. A phone. You're finally awake. You've been asleep for a full 25 years, my mother sobbed. My father was also silently shedding tears beside her. So, I'm not dead, I'm still alive. Was the Shenqing I saw just a dream? After a few days of recovery, I was finally able to sit in a wheelchair. I was pushed along the corridor of the hospital. Two people walking towards me made my eyes turn red in an instant. I watched her affectionately hold her husband's hand, and her husband was holding a little baby in his arms. Happiness was radiating from both of them. They were teasing the little baby as they walked. When they passed by me, no one noticed me. After a while, she turned her head. If you walk out of this house today, Shenqing, don't come back. He threatened me from behind. I couldn't stop crying. But there was a trace of disgust in her eyes. Her husband asked her, do you know him? She shook her head. No, I don't. Then she left with her husband.